Sulaiman, man. You're
Go
funny.
for it. You live as well, Nima?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So if you guys just want to start this, we can get going. So the first topic we're going to go over here is October 7th. Now, Nima, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Or should we do an
clarify.
introduction? Before you go into each topics, does Nima want to do an introduction, introduce himself?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then what his positions are on all four things, and then I'll do introduction, introduce something,
yeah,
give my position on all.
1000%. All right, Nima, take it away.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me, Tyson. I'm glad to have here. My name is Nima. For those of you who don't know, I'm mixed with Iranian and some of my family's from Jerusalem, Israeli, prior to 1948, the state of Israel. And I just want everyone to know, I know that Sulaiman, I'm looking forward to this debate. I know that Sulaiman has a very big Muslim following. And I want all of you to know that as a mixed man, I do have respect for your faith. As a mixed man, on my father's side, they were Iranian Muslims. So if you think that I'm going to disrespect your faith, I'm not. I'm not going to insult your faith. I respect you. I respect your faith, and I respect anyone of any faith, permitted they do not harm anyone else. So I just want to start off by saying that. Thank you, Sulaiman, for meeting me. Also, out of all the guys on that side who push hatred for the Jewish people and the state of Israel, which I love, I appreciate the fact that you are not a coward and that you had the bravery and the valor. And I know that you have a PhD, and I know you're very accomplished and studied and a learned man. So I appreciate you. I look at you as more of an authority within that camp. And I know that others like Tate, Myron, I know they respect you. I know they legitimately respect you. So I look at it like I'm looking forward to this. Definitely. Thank you for having me, Tyson.
Awesome. Thank you. And Sulaiman, if you want to introduce yourself. Hello?
Yeah, look, thanks for Jews. And I'm with you. I'm about respect of all religions, irrespective of race, religion, or creed. We believe in equality of all men, irrespective of race, religion, or creed. And I think that's where the basis of a possible disagreement will be. We'll go ahead and have this conversation. In terms of the hate the Jew camp, as you refer to it as, it's more of a pro-peace, pro-humanity camp, people who want justice and fairness for all people. But I appreciate you taking time out. As you mentioned, we have met each other in February 2023, and you were a really nice guy when I met you. So looking forward to this debate, looking forward to this conversation and see how it goes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so...
Oh, and by the way, just a correction, I haven't got a PhD. I was halfway through my PhD and I stopped before I became huge on X.
Right, man. Well, no, I mean, I think out of a lot of the guys, though, I will say that out of a lot of the guys that are on social media, I do think you're definitely among the experts. So,
for sure.
Sulaiman's got motion on X. Hell yeah. All right, if you guys want to get into October 7th for our first topic, Nima, kind of just like clarify like what your position is fully on October 7th. I'll give you 2 minutes on this, and then we'll go to Sulaiman.
I mean, my position is that there's about 2 million Muslims in a beautiful country called Israel. And I've been to Israel. I don't know if, Sulaiman, I don't know if you've been. I don't know if Tyson, if you've been. But in Israel, you have Arabs. I have a friend of mine. He's from Ramallah, a Muslim. And he's like a little brother to me. You know, I sincerely have love for him. And after October 7, he decided to go and work in Tel Aviv. Now, maybe he engages in racist jokes with the Israelis. The Israelis engage in racist jokes with him, like anyone maybe does. And he's happy. He was, last I spoke with him, he was happy that he was getting an apartment in Tel Aviv. And that's the beautiful thing about Israel, is that there are so many Palestinians and Arabs in the region that would love to have a home in Israel. And I think a lot of Muslims don't know that there's actually Arabs and Druze that serve in the military of Israel, a tech powerhouse in the region that helps Arab countries, that helps Muslim countries. Israel helps Muslim countries, including Azerbaijan, which it gets a lot of flack for. Sulaiman knows that. And also how it helps, I would say, Indonesia and Dubai, the UAE, Saudi, Bahrain, Kuwait. So the truth is, Israel actually does have a good relationship with Muslim countries. It's not as black or white as people may think. And I do think a great example of that is the UAE and Azerbaijan. But that's it for now.
Okay. Okay. And Sulaiman, what's your position on October 7th?
Yeah, of course. My position on October the 7th is that only 1,150 people died. It wasn't a specific attack on Jews. It was an attack on the occupied apartheid state. During October the 7th, there was no mass rape. There was no beheaded babies. There wasn't the bombing of the Al-Ahli Baptist Hospital was done by Israel. Israel killed its own people. They deployed the Hannibal Directive. And the reason October the 7th happened was because Hamas the entirety of resistance wanted to get their hostages and exchange them for the Palestinian hostages that are kept in Israeli prisons without any trial. So that's the thesis of my position. In terms of Israel itself, some of the things Nima mentioned, no, there is an apartheid state. There is Arabs, but they don't have the same rights. You have 63 laws on Israeli books that differentiate between Arabs and Israelis. That things such as occupation, things such as housing rights, the ability to purchase property, and the best one which we know about is the right to return. It means someone like Nima, who he just mentioned is a Jewish man, can return to Israel even though it may be his parents or his grandparents are from there. Although he mentioned he's there from a lot longer, but a Jew can basically go back to Israel if even they've been there for a short period of time, and a Palestinian who could demonstrate thousands of years of being in Palestine can't return. This is based on supremacy, and I believe in this idea of Western ideals. All man is equal. It doesn't matter who you are. You're a Jewish man, you're a Muslim man, you're a Christian man, all are equal. And I believe in these Western ideals, and I don't agree with this supremacist attitude where one man has more rights than another. I believe all men should be equal. And this is what I love about the West. The thing that makes the West better than everybody else is that thing. The last thing you mentioned about Azerbaijan, I disagree with the support of Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan are oppressing the Armenians. I don't care if they're Muslim. They are on the wrong side. And once again, it demonstrates that the Israelis are on the wrong side, irrespective of who it is, and they're oppressing Christians, which is the Armenians, and these Azerbaijanians who are Muslims are also oppressing them. I disavow both of them. They are
All right,
doing wrong.
you're coming up on 2 minutes. Nima, would you like to respond to that?
Yeah, Solomon, I just want to say real quick, man. I just retweeted Tyson's video because I don't think the stream is on your page.
He's on Party. He's streaming.
Okay.
Okay, I'll restart your time. Yeah.
So Solomon, so just real quick before I get into this. So Solomon, would you say that you would prefer that Israel was backing Armenia?
I would prefer Israel not to back anyone. I would prefer Azerbaijan and Armenia solve the problem. But what I do know is that Armenians are being oppressed. And so I vehemently disagree with the oppression of the Azerbaijanians on the Armenian Christians.
Yeah, but see, so
my thing is this, Nima, like my thing is this, I don't care if they're Muslim. Like, it's relevant to me. Like, Azerbaijan being Muslim, they're on the wrong side. Like, if someone's on the wrong side, I don't care what race or religion they are.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, if we were just as Tyson is good for me.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, if we were just start with first principles, I don't think there's any country in the world that would tolerate what Israel faced in October 7, when people basically looked at their children getting murdered, their father getting murdered, thousands of armed terrorists crossing into a border, murdering a complete family, kidnapping little children and elderly people, grandparents. That wasn't a response to occupation. I don't think that. I think it was an unprovoked act of genocidal hatred, like freak beasts. And I think every democracy has a right and a duty to defend its citizens. And just like the United States did after 9/11, when those terrorist beasts that got financed by Qatar and the Saudis murdered thousands of American citizens, and Ukraine does it today, and Israel is no different. So, if we're going to look at Soviet propaganda and bring that back, that's one thing. But I just want to say, the bottom line, before my 2 minutes finishes up here, is that, we talk about apartheid. That word basically collapses under 5 minutes of scrutiny, because over 2 million Arab citizens have the right to do a vote in Israel. You have Arabs that serve in the parliament. You have Arabs that serve on the Supreme Court in Israel, and they practice their religion freely. It's a little bit harder to find a Jew or a Christian in Hamas-run Gaza doing the same thing. So I think if we're fair, you could say there's a moral contrast.
All right, and Sulaiman, I'll add like 30 seconds to your time because Nima went a little over.
No problem. And Nima can take it however long he wants. I don't mind as long as I get the same time. So listen, the first thing is in terms of children being killed on October the 7th, only baby was killed, Mila Cohen in Kibbutz Be'eri, and he was killed by an Israeli. So there was no babies killed. All of them were killed by Israel. That's the first thing. In terms of why they went across the border, I've already mentioned this. They went to get. It wasn't some craziness. It was, they mentioned, Hamas mentioned this. They mentioned this in the charter. They mentioned it in the document about October the 7th. They've clearly stated our objective was to get Israeli hostages, soldiers, and bring them back and exchange them for Palestinian hostages that are kept in prisons, 11,000 without a trial, without any opportunity for a fairness, and have been held there for tens of years, many of them in solitary confinement. The second thing is you mentioned about rights. Well, I've already mentioned this. In Israel, they have an apartheid system. There are 63 laws that differentiate a Jew from a Gentile. That is an apartheid. The right to return is the greatest example of apartheid. Furthermore, you mentioned Christians in Gaza. There are Christians in Gaza, and they are being looked after. The difference is Israelis bombed their church regularly, threatened them, killed Catholics in Israel, in the church. So this has been the Israel, and to the point where even Christian bishops and Christian priests have come out and said, look, stop murdering us. We want to stay in the third oldest church in the entirety of the world. And these Palestinians, these Hamas people, have kept our church standing, but the Israelis continue to bomb it. What we're actually seeing is October the 7th was as a result of the genocidal state who's continued to oppress the Palestinian people for 75 years. But even then, if you look at the action to Hamas, what did they do? On that day, they could have killed a lot more people. They didn't. Their aim was always to bring the soldiers back. Unfortunately, your Israeli soldiers, they're so mental that they deployed the Hannibal Directive, which is to murder their own people. They're like, look, we're going to murder our own people in case they go back to Israel, and then we've got to exchange them for Palestinian hostages, like they did when Gilad, the Israeli soldier, was taken, and then he was exchanged for 1,000 Palestinian soldiers. So October the 7th was Israel losing its mind, killing its own people. Only how many people did Hamas kill? Maybe a couple of hundred people. Israel killed the vast majority of their own people, and they were soldiers. Children, I mentioned it. Children,
all right.
Israel killed the one baby.
I'm up on time a little. Okay, all right. I'll throw it back to Nima for your response to Sulaiman there.
I mean, I'd like to have a little bit of truth here. A little. I mean, can we be a little bit? I mean, you just went. Yeah, come on, bro. Let's just have a little bit of an honest conversation here.
That's what we're doing.
It's I say respectfully. So let's just unpack that. And I say this respectfully, lie by lie. First lie: only one baby was killed, and Israel did it. Come on, man. You're a father, Sulaiman. I expect a little bit. I expect a little bit more from you. You know better than that. You know that's completely false. First of all, Hamas murdered a whole family, several families, including more than 30 infants and toddlers. There's video footage. There's pictures. There's tons of it. These aren't just Israeli claims. They're literally confirmed by forensic teams, DNA evidence, and journalists from Reuters, AP, and the New York Times, which is basically a liberal woke newspaper in the United States, who literally saw the aftermath. The second lie, and I say this respectfully when I call it a lie, is that Hamas only wanted to capture soldiers for exchange. I mean, did you not see the picture of that girl where she defecated in her pants and she got dragged by her hair? What do you think they did to her? Make love to her and bake cookies? No, they killed her, if not rape her before. So if you look at their own charter, Hamas's own charter, it doesn't mention prisoner swaps. It calls for the annihilation of the Jewish state. That's why they butchered civilians. They raped little girls, and they filmed it for propaganda. Okay, that's clearly not hostage. That's terrorism to provoke people in the West. The third lie, Sulaiman, and I say lie with respect. 11,000 Palestinians held without trial. Come on, bro. That's false again. Why? Why is that false? Because most are convicted terrorists or active combatants in Hamas under judicial review of Israeli courts. The same system that prosecutes the IDF, the administrative detention, exists in dozens of democracies around the world that fight terrorism, including Britain, the UK, where you're at, and the US after 9/11. And one more thing, I'll be very quick.
Yeah.
Is Israel an apartheid state? That's complete nonsense. Israel is respected by billions of people around the world. It is respected, has many friends and many allies around the world. People from India, a largest democracy in the world, buys technology from the state of Israel. Your favorite country, Sulaiman, India. We both know what that means. And also Germany buys technology.
All right, you're going a little over the 2 minutes here, so I'll throw it back to Sulaiman.
Yeah, let's have an honest conversation. Why don't you provide evidence for your false claims? Because like I mentioned the one baby that was killed was Mila Cohen, and he was killed by Israel. Can you name these 30 toddlers that have been created from the figment of your imagination? Can you give the names of those people? Can you provide the footage? Because nobody, and I mean nobody, has seen this footage. They keep telling us this footage, yet the footage has never been released. They had GoPro cameras. Hamas recorded it all. This is according to Israelis. And yet, for some reason, we have zero evidence of rape. We have zero evidence of babies being killed. Where has this been created? Even the UN went in to investigate and said they gave us zero evidence, zero footage, zero photos. They didn't let us speak to the witnesses. All of this has been, the evidence is what? Trust me, bro. Well, guess what? There's one people I don't trust me, bro, with, and that is the Israelis. When you mention the papers, the woke papers, listen, woke papers, left-wing papers, right-wing papers, all of them are controlled by the Zionists. They control the entirety of the media. Hence, they pushed the beheaded baby lie through Israeli media to the United States of media, and they did it on the left-wing, and they did it on the right-wing papers, the non-woke ones. The other thing is, you mentioned that they are convicted terrorists. To be convicted, you have to go through a trial for the vast majority of them. For some of them, they've been put through a sham military court where 99.9% of them were convicted. Only 1% else was convicted.
Seems like we're losing him a little here.
At a trial. And yes, we have the Terrorism Act in the UK. We don't accept that because it detains people without a trial. So I've spoken the Terrorist Act in the United Kingdom, the Patriot Act in the US, and all of them were created by the US. In terms of 9/11, yes, 9/11 was done by Israel. It was done by your boys. And it wasn't Qatar. It was Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States of America did 9/11 to get the war in the Middle East for Israel. Millions of people were killed for Israel. Israel is a destruction on society, and they did all of those things. The last thing is they're respected by billions. Bro, I don't know which echo chamber you're living in. With respect, I don't know if it's some Zio-controlled echo chamber where they only let you watch Zio media. The world does not respect Israel. Israel has been exposed by the world. Everyone dislikes Israel. Even the United States, the most closest ally, the polls show that the vast majority of people, whether they're left or right, now find Israel to be disgusting and disgraceful. So no one respects Israel. Everyone sees them in an extremely negative manner.
All right, back to Nima.
So, Sulaiman, you said to me, just so I understand, you said to me to name the names of 3 toddlers that were murdered because it was completely fabricated. So I would like to answer that. There was one girl, her name was Abigail Aydin. She was 3 years old, and her parents were actually murdered right in front of her in Kfar Aza, Israel. She was kidnapped to Gaza by Hamas, and she was later released after 52 days in captivity. Her baby brother, Roy, that was his name, Roy, he was 10 months old, and he was murdered by that attack. I mean, I don't, you could call that a false flag if you'd like, but that's a fact. Another baby that was murdered is Sherry Babas.
What was it? 10 months? What was that one?
Sherry Babas, yep. That was the youngest Israeli hostage taken by Hamas. Kafar and his 4-year-old brother, Ariel, were kidnapped alive. They were actually kidnapped alive, and they were later confirmed killed in Gaza, along with their mom. Their mom was killed. And Hamas, actually, you don't have to believe me because I'm a Jew. Obviously, I'm a Jew. I mean, why would you believe me? However, Hamas said publicly, they announced their deaths in late November. Also, one more example I'd like to say of a child that was murdered in Israel, Mayan Zin. Her daughters, Daphne, 15, and Ella, who was 8, were both fathers, Sulaiman. They were murdered, and Mayan's friends infants in the same kibbutz, including Yael and Nava Shomin, 3 and 8, were they actually had the privilege of letting Hamas burn them alive when Hamas set their house on fire. And so this is not propaganda. This is actually documented victims with families, photos, and death certificates.
All right, Sulaiman.
Okay. So just to be clear, the ones he mentioned, he admitted they weren't killed. They were taken back to Gaza. So Idris, as he mentioned, and the Bibes family, both of them were taken to to Gaza. When they were taken to Gaza, even if you remember, the Bibes family were killed by Israel because the father made a video. He came out and said, please, Israel, stop bombing us. Stop killing Israeli citizens. You've already killed so many. And you've also killed the Bibes family. This just demonstrates that the Israelis have no respect for their own citizens. They were murdering them indiscriminately while they were in Gaza because they were bombing indiscriminately, even though the father of the Bibes pleaded, please do not kill us. And yet they continue to bomb them and continue to kill them. So they were killed. Both of them were killed by Israel. The former admitted that they went back, so that's not a killing. The one you mentioned just at the end in terms of burning, it was Israel who was burning the Israelis. It's very well known that the Israelis used Apache helicopters to attack on October the 7th. They killed hundreds upon hundreds of people. Such was the extent that they killed that initially, if you remember, the figure was 2,000. They claimed they'd killed 2,000 people from Palestine. And then they had to revise the figure. You know why they revised it? Because they said, oops, 200 the 2,000 Israelis were killed, but actually 200 of them were Hamas because we burnt them and we didn't know that they were Hamas. So they were just burning people carte blanche, using short artillery fire on that day. And what it resulted in is a huge number of Israelis being killed. In terms of the family you mentioned, the 16-year-old, I looked into this in this kibbutz. What actually happened was the 16-year-old and the 14-year-old, the 14 and the 16-year-old were allegedly, there was dispute. Are they 14 or 16? Are they 16 or 18? But let's go with the smaller number, which is 14 and 16. That being said, their sister was an IDF soldier and she was there in that incident shooting. And so obviously she ended up being collateral. Now, in terms of, I don't agree with collateral, but even to the point where Yasmin Pora, an Israeli citizen, said, on that day, that Israelis were just shooting at us. Hamas were protecting us. The Israelis were shooting at us. This hit airwaves. And then what did your Israeli boys do? They took her off the airwaves and we've not heard from her again. Please tell us, Nima, what have you guys done to Yasmin Pora? Let her out. Release the hostage. Because Yasmin Pora exposed the truth about what happened on October the 7th. And she said that the Israelis killed her. You mentioned Hamas Charter. The Hamas Charter says quite clearly, we have a problem with the state Israel, an oppressive state. They've never said Jewish people. Actually, the Hamas Charter says Jews, Muslims, and Christians will live in harmony under an Israeli state. Everyone will have equal rights, irrespective they are. So they never had issue with Jews. They never had issues with Christians. They've never had issue with anyone. The issue is this apartheid state, which I've already mentioned is an oppressive state, which is based on supremacy and oppression.
Okay. All right. Nima?
I mean, the fact that there's death certificates, I think that's if we're just going to just straight up just say that this just never happened, that's fine. I mean, I know that works for the bot farms that you have in your country, Pakistan, but in the West, and a lot of people actually do support Israel. There's a lot of support in Europe and India, the largest democracy in the world, your favorite country, Sulaiman, India, who fights terrorism, especially the terrorists in Taliban, Pakistan. And I stand with the people in India. It's a beautiful country. They understand the terrorism that comes from the Taliban leadership in Pakistan. I don't identify with the Taliban, Sulaiman. You might, and I say that respectfully, but I don't want that in the United States. I know that it works with unassuming Americans who do not understand our region, have not traveled to our region of the world. You're a South Asia. I'm a Middle Eastern Mediterranean man. And I get it. It works on these woke people. But the world's waking up. In Germany, more and more people are talking about re-immigration, where my wife is from. I also have a home in Germany. In England, there's more and more people standing up. And I think that people are, it's not going to be easy for you, Sulaiman. You fooled the world enough with this Zionist Soviet propaganda. And we both know the Chinese use your country as a puppet. It's like a bulldog. It's like a bulldog how they use your country. And I say that respectfully to your country because one of my best friends in Abu Dhabi, he's Pakistani. And I say this respectfully. It's nothing against the people of Pakistan. It's the government of Pakistan, which is basically Taliban run. And the one last thing I'd like to say here before I finish my 2 minutes is that it's just a shame that Pakistan was started in 1947, about 1 year after the state of Israel. And 1 year before, yeah. And when you look at where Pakistan came, it's an economic crisis. People are struggling. They're living like beggars, according to your own prime minister, by the way. Not me, not the Jew. The Pakistani said that. And the Indian people are looking at you and they're terrified of the Pakistani terrorists or the terrorists from Pakistan coming and murdering people. And look, Israel is a tech superpower, right? And isn't it a shame that the Pakistani leadership has decided to take this route of terrorism? And I think, Sulaiman, the best thing you can do for your people, man, is to say no to terrorism.
All right, Sulaiman.
Okay. You're working hard for your $7,000. I gotta say, you're working hard for it, but you're not getting there. You need to up your game a bit, Nima. That check's not going to be cashed unless you work a bit harder. Look, what's this deflection to Pakistan? I don't agree with Pakistan. I think you're confusing me. I disagree with the fact that Pakistan split with India. I disagree with the current government that is basically a US proxy state that works and basically does everything in the whims of the United States of America. I vehemently disagree with Pakistan. I have no allegiance to Pakistan whatsoever. I'm third generation from the UK. That being said, listen, in terms of India itself, who you understand why a Zionist would support India, though, because the Indians they oppress Muslims and Christians in India. For example, the Kuki community in India, who is the Christian community in India that is raped and abused, and you can see videos on them of them in the internet abused by the Indians. So my only disagreement with India is the way they treat minorities. In terms of Pakistan, I disagree with them for the same reason. They treat minorities unacceptably as well. But India is much worse in that. So when you're trying to explain these points, you're not going to get me to defend Pakistan. I vow Pakistan for being a proxy state and a vassal state of the United States of America and doing their bidding. In terms of Al-Qaeda, again, I disagree with Al-Qaeda. If you know any of my writing before I became big on X, it was calling out Al-Qaeda affiliated organizations and going against their brand of Islam. I've written lengthy remarks about this issue. But Al-Qaeda, who is it? It's been created by whom? I'm going to ask Nima. Has it been created by the United States of America and Israel and Saudi Arabia, propped up and financed by them? Yes, they were. Hence why we don't agree with it. So once again, you may call yourself a Jew, but your state of Israel has purported, financed, and funded terrorism directly from Israel, as well as the state country that they control, which is the United States of America. In terms of what you mentioned about remigration, we're going to come to that topic later. You're going to give me your position, and then I'll push back on your position on that, because I think that's the second topic. In terms of the extremism, and the biggest our terrorism is, Nima, and I basically implore you to do this, is the state of Israel that not only conducts terrorism in Palestine, not only in Gaza, but throughout the world. They've destroyed the Middle East based on their own whims and desires because of their want for the Greater Israel Project. They blame Christians for oppressing them for thousands of years. They're fearful of Muslims, and therefore they've oppressed both of those people internally in the United States and the United Kingdom, where they've destroyed Christian civilization, and overtly in the Middle East when they've bombed and destroyed them.
Okay, Nima, I'll let you respond.
I mean, I just want everyone to know that's looking at this stream, it's hard for me to not laugh because Sulaiman is actually a nice guy. And do I think he actually believes this treacherous slander, defamation of a beautiful country like Israel? I don't know. Do I think he actually even believes? Because I actually think he's a nice guy. I don't know if the volume of lying, the volume of disinformation, it's so profound. It's when I see how it works on the United States. And do I blame Sulaiman for doing it? No. Will I blame Sulaiman for being an agent for ISI, an intelligence agency in Pakistan? No. Will I say that? No, I won't say that he's a part of an intelligence agency out of Pakistan conducting disinformation campaigns with coordinated bot farms throughout Pakistan, doing psychological warfare in the UK and sowing fraction and divide and chaos in the UK. Will I say that? No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that he's an intelligence agent. I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is that to not say that Sulaiman, despite being a nice guy, he's a likable guy. Well, let's give him that. He's a likable guy, a cute guy, handsome guy,
Whoa.
But to let him get away with the volume of lying with no fact checks, it's like Tyson. I would like some fact checks here, man, because this is just like what he's just saying, what he just did to talk about India like that. The way he literally just, I don't know if Americans actually understood. He's just said, I disavow Pakistan. I disavow Al-Qaeda. Yet every talking point was like ISI, Pakistani, Soviet propaganda style, straight to Americans. And he knows it. He can't even see. He knows it. He knows what he's doing. And I can't blame him for doing it because it's working. That's the thing. And he knows it. And there's like 20 of them. And I'm by myself. There's like India's a much bigger country. Pakistan's a much bigger country. I'm sorry. And they get and they just lie like this, and it's working on Europeans. It's working on Canadians. It's working on Americans. I don't blame you, Sulaiman, because you understand the stupidity of the general population of Europe and the North America, that you can say these slanderous lies, right? And then you just call me a Zionist. And then you have 10 of your friends calling me a Zionist. Mossad, whatever you want to call me, CIA. And then, but in actuality, if I say you're ISI, no one would believe me. And I'm not saying you're ISI. I'm not saying you work with an intelligence disinformation team, but I'm just saying that's actually, if it's something were to be true, would that not be more true? All
right, Sulaiman. Nima, can you hear him or no?
No, but he looks, he's like he's having fun.
Sulaiman, we can't hear you, man. I don't know if you could hear us. So we can't hear you. I don't know if there's an issue with your audio or your mic.
Hear me, guys?
Okay, you're back now. You're back now.
Okay.
Restart your timer.
So let me just respond to that. Nima, what is going on, bro? You just did a 2-minute tirade calling me ISI and a lie. That's literally, I don't have to respond to that. First of all, I'm not ISI. That's the most ridiculous argument ever. I disavowed the current Pakistani regime. So I don't know what you're talking about. And I disavow everyone because when it comes to Pakistan, because I've said to you that my problem with that is they've been carrying out the orders of the United States of America for too long. And you're right. This is why it's harmed their society. I don't even disagree with any oppositions. You've stated quite accurately, this is the problem with Pakistan, that they basically are a vassal state of the United States of America. They look out for their leaders look out for their interests rather than the interests of the people. So I don't know where you're getting this from. And I won't even call you a Mossad agent, Nima, because I don't think you make the ranks. I mean, and I don't even think you've earned the $7,000 to improve up your game a bit. Just don't call someone a liar, irrespective of come in with any evidence. And I know you think Tyson Hockley is the CNN fact checker, but unfortunately, you're not going to get CNN, which is the Zionist-controlled media fact check. The real reason why people listen to us is because you guys control the media for far too long. And what happened? We had social media. We were able to expose your lies on Twitter. We were able to expose your lies on TikTok. What did you guys do? You then got Elon Musk to go on a tour, an Auschwitz tour, a humiliation ritual to change his position, to change his algorithm. You got Larry Ellison, a Jewish billionaire, to buy TikTok, to take control over it so that you can control the algorithm. It's like Greenblatt said, we have a generational problem. We have a TikTok problem. So you guys knew the issues. You bought CBS and you put Barry Weiss, who's an Israeli asset, in charge, even though her views are less than yours and mine, Nima. If she got $200 million, me and you should get billions. So this is an entire Zionist operation. And the problem you've got is the people have heard the truth. The people know the truth. The people know that what happened on October. You guys manufactured lies in order to commit a genocide in Gaza. And that was the real reason why you did what you did. And what's happened is the world has rejected you. The world has rejected you. No one has accepted you. And this is why you're seeing Israel become a parasite to the world. And it's time to end. It's time to end the Israeli support, the Israeli control of the United States of America, and the Israeli control of the UK and Europe. Sorry, did you say time?
What's the time? You're a little bit over. You can finish your point if you want.
Sorry.
You can finish your point.
No,
Okay. All right, Nima.
We go to the next topic, or we can carry on. I'm really sure.
Yeah, it's up to you guys if you want to switch topics.
What do you want, Nima? You decide.
Yeah, I just one quick thing before we move on here, because you slandered a beautiful country that I find this country very beautiful, India, and it has over 1.3 billion people. It's the largest democracy in the world. India has 200 million Muslims living in their country. Muslims that vote, Muslims that build companies running for office, Muslims more than the entire population of Pakistan, your favorite country where you're from. And just so you know that in Pakistan, where you're from, Hindus, Sikhs, and Christians can barely exist without getting lynched, raped, and kidnapped. Now, which country sounds more freer to you?
All right, Sulaiman, you want to respond, and then we can switch topics after.
Again, you're fooling yourself, because I've already explained that Pakistan also has a problem with oppressing minorities. If you read one of my golden articles from 2016, I literally advocated for a specific Christian woman who had been put in prison incorrectly, and I was quite instrumental in getting her released. So you don't need to say that to me. But what I'm saying is, Pakistan has that issue, no doubt about it. But India, it's a systemic issue. It's something that is based on hierarchy. They have a caste system in India where even lower ranked Indians are abused and not given the same rights. And also Christians, the cookie community, type it in Google, type it in YouTube, you'll see the women being put on a tree and being raped, and also the Muslim community. So that does happen in both of those countries, but it's significantly worse and it's systemic in India. So again, look, this is the problem. What you're noticing is, I'm not a defender of Pakistan. I've called them out. I disagree with them. Some of the points you mentioned, I agree with about Pakistan. But when you're defending, the difference with you is when someone's oppressing, you defend them. If there's someone who you've got an allegiance with, alliance with, or it's your country, then you'll defend their extremism, their terrorism, their hatred. But I won't. It's all about love, Nima. It's all about love. It's all about treating all man equal, irrespective of who it is. It's all about race. It's about each man being equal, irrespective of race, religion, and creed. And that's the difference between us and the Zionist movement.
Guys, I just want to say also, everybody in your chat, Sulaiman, is saying it's like lagging. Like my chat is saying that's fine, but your whole chat is like saying like it's like almost like unwatchable.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll sort it out later, but they can. It's fine.
All right.
I think it's just because I'm flipping have to use an iPhone, because I had a Zio. I don't know if Nima got his boys in India to Israel to. I'm joking. That's a joke. Obviously, I don't think Nima did that.
All right, you guys want to switch now to the topic of Muslim migration? I know, Nima, that's a topic that you proposed. Who wants the starting one? Because Nima started before.
I don't know his position, so he'll have to go first. I actually don't know his position.
Okay. All right, Nima, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, I would like to talk about the Pakistani community that Sulaiman is a part of in the UK. His best friend forever, Shabana Mahmood, who's the Home Secretary that has been known for helping migrants cross, the Turkish migrants. You know who I'm talking about, Sulaiman. The Pakistanis like to paint the UK as this like trashy, westward, backward infidel country, right? But when you look at the sheer volume of rapes that go on in Pakistan, it's literally just completely unhinged. I mean, 70 to 80% of the rape in the UK from the Pakistanis comes from a place called Mirpur. You know where that is, Sulaiman. The Pakistani grooming rape gangs are 80% from Mirpur. You know where that is, Sulaiman. They target white British girls that look like Tyson.
Oh,
and
girls, I'm a boy, Nima.
No, but they do. They target like these white girls that look like they could be Tyson's sister for genocide.
Okay, sister.
Genocide, child prostitution, and there's Hamas links in Mirpur. And I would like to see how often Sulaiman, a Pakistani who came from Pakistan in the UK, talks about the British girls who get raped, tortured inside of a basement, gang raped, raw dog, no condom, and then murdered.
Hey, we're on YouTube, so don't get us banned. You're getting a little bit graphic. I'm not trying to cut you off, but you're getting a bit graphic for YouTube.
Go ahead, Sulaiman.
All right.
Guys, can you hear me? Because they're complaining that they can't hear me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could hear you. Everybody in my chat is saying that it's fine, but your chat is saying that's like really like.
Guys, worst case scenario, you can go on Tyson's stream on YouTube and listen to it there. Worst case scenario, because his stream is fine, right? Okay, let's go through your points. So the first thing is about Shabana Mahmood. Shabana Mahmood is an example of somebody who is a traitor. She is someone who did the pro-Palestinian protests. And as soon as she sold out to the Zionist lobby and was given a position by the Zionists as Home Office Secretary, first thing she did is ban pro-Palestinian protests. She said if you protest in the same place twice, it will become illegal. And the second thing she did was she wrote a long spiel about the grooming gangs, almost as if Tommy Robinson himself wrote it. Now, in terms of rape gangs in the UK, Nima, I have written about it, and I've said quite clearly that this claim about 80%, where's the figure from? Can you explain to me where you got the 80% figure from? Are we going to do the question and answer later? Okay. No, go ahead. Where do you get the figure from?
We can do it now. Yeah.
Where do you get the 80% figure from?
I can look that up. I can look it up so we get the exact source. But go ahead. But please go ahead. I can provide it. I can put it in a link. I can put it in a reply section. I can put it in a reply section to make it easy. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you. I'll tell you where the reply is because I know this topic really well. So the figure comes from your good friend, Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson created that figure when he became part of Quilliam Foundation, when he sold out to them, when they paid him money, because Tommy Robinson is available to the highest bidder. He came up with that figure. The figure has no basis. In reality, when you look at the rape gangs in the United Kingdom, they are proportionate, irrespective of race, religion, or creed. The same amount of people rape amongst all religions and all areas. The number is proportionate. The claim that is disproportionate comes from people like Tommy Robinson. Is there specific areas where it's disproportionate amongst one race or one religion? Yes, but you can't take an area in isolation. You've got to take the entirety of the United Kingdom. So if you take Rotherham on its own or Telford on its own, yes, that's disproportionate. But if you take the UK as a whole, it's not disproportionate. The same amount of rape gangs and rape occurs from white people as it does Asians, as it does Muslims, as it does non-Muslims. That's the first thing. The second thing is, in terms of, and that's been proven by the COCP report of 2011, the COCP report of 2013, and the Home Office report. So this has been proven consistently that your figure is something that your boy Tommy Robinson created. But you know what's disproportionate, Nima? And I implore you to call this out. Disproportionate rape and abuse by Tommy Robinson's friends, Tommy Robinson linked people, or people who are part of his group. I did a thread with hundreds of people linked to Tommy Robinson, friends with him, or part of his group, same ideological group, who raped over 100 children, or raped children or women. In one incident, for example, two men went to rape a girl. One got there first and murdered her. So let's be clear on that. The disproportionate amount of rape in the United Kingdom is linked to people who are friends with Tommy Robinson, your friend, or are associated with them, or have the same ideology as them. In terms of the rest of it, in terms of the figures, there is no disproportionate when it comes to the Muslim community or the Pakistani community. When you take the UK as a whole, what Tommy Robinson did is, through Quilliam Foundation, when he came with this figure, is he just said, okay, we're looking at the most reported thing. That's 80% more Muslim and Pakistani, therefore they did most of the rape. But of course, if they reported more, the Zionists control the media. The Zionists the aim is.
All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Nima because Nima, I'll give you an extra minute too because Sulaiman was 3 minutes there, so I'll give you 3 minutes.
Sorry. Just stop me. You know me, I don't stop talking, so stop me when it's 2 minutes.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just want to say, how dare you, Sulaiman, come from Pakistan, come to England after they fed you like a baby, they gave you heat in the winter, they took your family in from Pakistan, and then here you are sitting in your nice luxury home as you insult a British patriot and my friend Tommy Robinson. And you talk about, the claim of Tommy Robinson invented the grooming gang. Data is false. I mean, what's next? You're going to go sit on Starmer's lap with that woke propaganda, that pagan propaganda of what you just said? That figure came from the UK Home Office reports. You should be ashamed of yourself for lying about Tommy Robinson, first of all. Second of all, that came from several parliamentary inquiries. And you know that. That didn't come from some Zionist named Moshe in a coffee shop having a bagel. You know exactly where that came from. Okay? So let's just have a little bit of common decency here. Those studies found, bottom line, you can argue with me all you want, that while most sexual offenders are white, the organized grooming gang cases were disproportionate disproportionately from Pakistan, where you're from. And they were targeting white, working class British girls with like blonde hair and blue eyes. You won't tell me that's not racist? And by the way, when you say you dismiss those girls' suffering as proportionate, you sound exactly like the people who told the Jewish women in England and Europe to stay quiet about the assaults for, I don't know, community harmony. You know, it's like, come on, man. What do you know, this, your fantasy of this Jewish lobby fantasy as you're doing ISI, Pakistani intelligence propaganda like a puppy, like a bulldog for the Chinese Communist Party, which owns Pakistan, which maybe is your allegiance. You know, as an educated Pakistani in England, defending the grooming gangs that rape little English girls, and then you shame Tommy Robinson as you go to England and you live in your luxury home and you're going to ride the tube tomorrow to go to your nice luxury restaurants in England. Have a little bit of self-respect and have a little bit of shame and have a little bit of appreciation what the British did for you. Honestly. I said I respect.
All right,
Yeah, okay.
Sulaiman.
So you need to stop reading from a script because I can see you keep on looking on a script. So I don't know if that's Mossad sending you a script or who sent you that script. But that being said, let's be clear on this, right? I'm born in the UK. I'm third generation, so I didn't come to the UK. My family helped rebuild UK after the war. First thing. The second thing is when you say Tommy Robinson is a patriot, no, he's not. He is an Israeli asset. He's paid by Robert Shillman, who finances him. Robert Shillman, who's the same guy who funds the Robert Shillman Foundation, the same guy who funds the IDF. He is a Zionist asset, hence why he has been used in order to do this. The second thing is I stand for all suffering of women. I'm not saying that the women suffering didn't happen. Of course, you know women can falsely accuse people, right? You know that better than anyone. But that being said, irrespective of that point, the situation is there are women who have been abused. And I do believe all these women. I'm not saying that I disagree with them. Your claim is that what you're doing is disrespecting the women because you're trying to say rape doesn't matter because you said rape happens only by when it comes to sexual rape, it happens by white men. You're discarding that. Disgusting. I'm saying that's horrible. And I'm saying grooming's horrible. I'm saying I disavow all of it. All these people are doing it, including your friends, Tommy Robinson. They may be your friends. I don't know because they are linked to the entire organizations. I know you went and met him, so I don't know if you met these people. But all of them together doing it, they all should be disavowed. My only point is don't focus on one group when all these people are doing it. Let's stop all of them. When you try and make it disproportionate, the real reason is because you want to demonize. When you talk about Keir Starmer, you do know he's your cousin. I think he's your cousin, right? Because Keir Starmer is a Jewish Zionist. He was put in place, again, by Zionists. He shares the same religion as you. He shares the same ideology as you. His wife is Jewish and his children are Jewish. And they are there to destroy the UK based on Zionist propaganda. So Keir Starmer isn't my boy. UK Home Office report, you should read it. You shouldn't just read from the script. Because the UK Home Office report from 2020 quite clearly states, according to the Home Office, that the actual vast majority of rapes in the UK have happened, and grooming, they claim, happened by white people. That's the claim by the UK Home Office. I'm saying it's not disproportionate. They claim disproportionately white. I'm saying it's proportionate amongst everyone. That's my disagreement on that issue. Because when I looked at the figures, it's not that the white people do it more. It's not like the Pakistani people do it more. Whoever does it more. Everyone does it equally. In terms of migration as well, you do know last year, the vast majority of sexual abusers came from your boys' country in the UK, India. 100 sexual acts occurred in the UK. Sexual abuses occurred in the UK. The top ranking country was India, your friends. So again, they're not in the top three. Last year, 2024, it was India was 1, Poland was 2, Romania was 3. So let's be clear on that. Even last year, the figures show completely different. You can see the evidence of that in the Telegraph report.
All right,
so,
I'm going to turn back to Nima here because you're coming up on 3 minutes. So Nima?
So I want to just say, I get it. Like ISI is like sending you information and you're just like, reading the statistics as your ISI research team out of Pakistan gives you information to say. I think you and I can both agree, Solomon, that the UK has a massive grooming rape problem. And for years, the UK people have been too scared to say who was doing it, which were overall disproportionately the Pakistanis, where you come from. And the politicians don't like to argue about that because of the optics, right? Because thousands of British girls with blonde hair, blue eyes, let's say, who get gang raped by these Pakistani men, the country you come from, who get raped, trafficked, and basically maybe murdered. And they get heroin injected into them and they get locked up in a basement. Little teenage girl, imagine them screaming. I know you don't want to speak up for them, maybe. You rather focus on the Zionist Moshe having a bagel in Brooklyn over, rather than focus on that. And then you have the nerve to sit there and shame the Indian people in the UK, which is, I find that rich considering how successful the Indian people are in the UK and how much they've been terrorized by the Pakistanis, the community you come from, and that the UK Home Office had several police inquiries that found a very similar pattern, Sulaiman. And that's that, yes, there was a specific act of organized grooming gangs in towns like Rockdale, you know where Rockdale is, not too far from where you're from, and Telford. And many of those ringleaders were men of Pakistani heritage, where you come from, and they focused on the working class girls. And the councils knew, the police knew, okay? And they buried those files. Why? Because the policemen in England, in their own country, were scared of someone like you from Pakistan calling them a racist. You should be ashamed of yourself.
All right, Sulaiman.
Okay, so this is another Jew who just likes to lie, because this is what Jews do, right? So let's be clear on this. First of all, his Jewish brother, Tom Alexandrovich, raped a woman in the United States of America and then fled to Israel. This guy apparently defended him. So let's be clear on this. These Jews, they defend their people. And let's be clear on this. Israel is the of the world. Your people love to rape. Mia Shem from October the 7th, one of the hostages, she leaves Gaza. She says Hamas raped her with the eye because they never raped her. When she went back to Israel, she actually got raped by one of your cousins. They literally raped her, one of the fitness instructors. So let's be clear on this. Rape only comes from you guys. And how disgusting of you that this Iranian guy who's trying to get the US to overthrow his own country is now coming to the UK and minimizing the rape that is done by Indians. I said I disavow all rape. I just said it's disproportionate. He's denying that the Indians are raped last year. This is disgusting. How horrid. How embarrassing. And he doesn't even call out Tommy Robinson, his boy, who is another Zionist Israeli asset, because his boys probably told him not to, who was, again, his friends, Tommy Robinson's friends, people linked to him, have all took part in a significant amount of sexual abuse. I disavow all of it. Now, in terms of 3 towns, you said, you're quite right. Those 3 towns, they are proportionate. But it's all those specific 3 towns. But when you look at the UK as a whole, it's not disproportionate. That's my point. If I go to Tom Alexandrovich and I say everybody in Tom Alexandrovich's house is a rapist, that means all Israelis are rapists 100%. That would be right, but that's not how you do data or figures. You need to educate yourself. When you talk about Home Office report, there was a number of inquiries. It wasn't called the Home Office report. You're talking about the Telford inquiry. You're talking about the Rochdale inquiry. You're talking about the Rotherham inquiry. What you're proving is there was a large number of inquiries. All of those inquiries said quite accurately that there was systematic failure on multiple levels. There is definitely grooming going on. There's definitely Pakistanis grooming. I'm saying they're disproportionate. So I disavow those Pakistanis that are grooming, but I disavow everyone else's grooming. This guy is saying, I only disavow the Pakistanis. Any of my cousins, any of my brothers in India who have got an allegiance to, when they're doing it, I'm going to remain quiet. I'm not going to say anything. So this is how these people work. One rule for thee and a different rule for me. Jewish supremacy. This is the issue that you have. So let me clarify my point. Oh no, go ahead. That's it. That's fine. I'm bored.
All right, Nima.
Yeah, I wanna just take a second here to just say that, I get it. Like, you can just say the most outlandish lies and just keep saying your ISI, Pakistani intelligence propaganda, Pakistan, a puppet, a bulldog for the Chinese Communist Party. I just want to emphasize that, because I don't think a lot of Americans know, Europeans know what you're doing, and it works. It fools them, right? And I don't blame you for doing it, because when they hear me, because there's only a few of us, and there's a lot of you, and you guys say it, and you flood the social media with your bot farms. You have more you have more fake bot accounts, bot farms in Pakistan than maybe there's even Israelis. Times 5, maybe times 200. I don't know. And you overtalk us, You insult us in the comment section, and it's working. You know, Sulaiman, it's working what you're doing. That's why I just want you to understand, like, when you fool these Europeans and you fool these Americans, just know you don't fool us. And I know that bothers you. I know that bothers you that it doesn't fool the Israelis. I know that bothers you that you want us so silent. You don't want us to tell the truth. But fortunately, many countries in Europe, thank you to Elon Musk, thank you to British patriot, hero, freedom fighter Tommy Robinson, my friend, who I've walked with in England, who I've spoken at his event last year. You're right, he is my friend. He's a British hero. He's loved by people in England, by the way, just so you know. And because his country is getting conquered. There's more Pakistani flags perhaps in the street these days, Palestinian flags, than English flags. Do I think England should have an English flag? I do. And I know you find that offensive because you rather have a Pakistani flag in England. But I don't. I want the English people to save their country from the terrorists. Okay? And yeah, that's it. I think that's where I stand. And I just want to get this off my chest, is that you know you're lying. And you're getting away with it. And I think for my ego, I need to get that off my chest, that I know you're lying. You know that I know you're lying. But because there's so many Pakistanis, you flood Europe, you flood them, and there's only a few of us Jews in Europe, and you get away with it. And you're getting away with it. And it breaks my heart. And you know you're lying. You know you're lying. That's the thing, man. And then you shame Tommy Robinson, and how dare you do it? But you do it. You do it, and you're going to get away with it. And the woke liberals are going to take your side. That's the thing.
All right, Sulaiman.
Okay. So everyone take a shot. Actually, don't, because you'll be drunk every time you take a shot when he says the word liar, 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 liar. But anyway, let's be clear on this. The bot farms come from India, from Israel. Everybody knows this. So who are you trying to fool? Your boy Vivad, any of the biggest accounts. We saw that Chaya account that literally changed his account as soon as Musk said that they're going to put labels of which country of origin they're from. So the bot farms come from you guys. The anonymous account, large anonymous accounts that are Indian are from guys. You guys are the ones who do the entire botting, and now you've made Elon Musk change the algorithm so it goes side. So don't make those claims. We all know the bot farms are from you guys. Everybody knows it. What you guys were shocked about was when the entire world was going to reject you guys for your extremism, for your terrorism. So that's the first point. The second thing is, maybe you should educate yourself on geopolitics, because you probably don't know it. Maybe you never heard of this thing called BRICS. BRICS has India and China in it. Those two countries are actually aligned in BRICS. Pakistan is aligned with the United States of America, and I just think they should align with the United States of America. Let me be clear on that. I think they are a vassal state of the United States of America, and they do their bit, and they bomb countries for the United States of America. I disavow them. So I think you don't understand the difference. I think you don't know geopolitics. So maybe let people actually know geopolitics. They'll just think that you're being foolish in your statements. The second is, in terms of Pakistanis or Muslims conquering the UK. So again, this is false. Let me educate you again about data information. I know you don't like it because the Zionist media don't like being stated. The vast majority of immigration into the United Kingdom is from India. In the last 5 years, there's been 1 million that have come to the United Kingdom. The second country, you know where it is? 350,000. The third country, you know where it is? It's Nigeria, 330,000. 1 million Indians, 350. 330,000. Those 3 countries are Muslim countries. The birth rate in UK from men is Indian. The most births from males is Indian children for foreign birth. For women, it's Indian now as well. It used to be Romanian 2 years ago for foreign birth. So actually, mass migration, because the Indian Prime Minister, we have had the Indian Home Secretary before, the entire mass migration into the UK has been from India, because for some reason they opened the floodgates for India because of Brexit. They caused it to happen, which has stopped European immigration. And if you see, the world knows mass migration of Indians is happening in the UK, it's happening in the US, it's happening in Australia, it's happening in Canada. Everyone's seeing them everywhere. So when you're saying that, you're saying everyone deny your eye, your ears. There is a massive takeover of the UK. And by the way, unlike who hates the British people, who hates white people, I'm against all immigration. I'm saying stop all immigration, irrespective of who it is. But you want because you Zionists want to destroy the kingdom. You got Keir Starmer on the left, you got Nigel Farage on the right, you got Tommy Robinson, all of them being created to destroy the UK and to cause hatred against Muslims, to get the working class against each other, while guys at the top, while Keir Starmer, your boy, is at the top. You guys stopped Jeremy Corbyn from winning because you guys wanted your person in place. Keir Starmer is Jewish, you know that. Is he your cousin? Is he related to you?
Okay, I just want to say, you know, your country, Pakistan, the leader, Musharraf, your boyfriend. You remember when he talked about the Taliban that he helped train? You know, Pakistan basically helped invent the Taliban, ISI, intelligence agency, you know, your employer. And he talked about Osama bin Laden as its hero. Have you ever heard an Israeli leader talk like that? No, of course, because we don't do that. We don't think like genocidal freaks. And you know, when you say this stuff about like, you know, how the bot farms, I mean, everyone knows these bot farms are coming out of Pakistan, bro. Like it's like India and Israel have democracies. That's what they're common with Europe. And if you actually read X's transparency reports, which I know you did in your ISI England office, the largest coordinated troll networks ever banned did not come from Israel. They actually came from Pakistan, where you're from. Okay, not Tel Aviv, not our friends in India and Mumbai. And that's, by the way, public data that I would like everyone to research. Now, let's talk about BRICS, your good old friends BRICS on X. That BRICS account is run, owned, and controlled by a Pakistani just like you. Okay, they're doing Pakistani propaganda. India's government, yeah, it's in BRIC. That's true. But to say BRIC is this like virtue signaling moral alliance is ridiculous. Just like the communist nations, United Nations, which at this point should go get hosted in Beijing. So you got China and Russia, and it's a shame Russia sides with you guys, because Russia should actually side with Europe, Israel, and the United States. I wish Russia did. I have a lot of respect for the Russian people. You know, my lawyer's Russian. I have a lot of respect for Russia. I don't know how Russia would get a much better, and you know this, you know what I'm saying, Sulaiman. Russia would get much more respect if they were friends with Europe. They would get much more respect if they were with Europe than with China, because China and Russia have this issue over the Central Asian countries. They're like little brother to China. And I wish the Russian people who listen to this and see this, I hope they would say, you know what, we should have friendships with Israel. We should have friendships with Europe. We should have friendships with the United States and abandon the Chinese Communist Party and those terrorist freaks, Taliban in Pakistan. So long story short, when you say that Israel and India didn't need bots, okay, that they have bots, they don't actually need those bots the way you guys do, because you guys are the ones that are pushing the disinformation in here, okay? India and Israel have technology, right? They have trade. They have shared democratic values. And I would imagine more people in Europe would prefer Indians who don't gang rape the British women than the Pakistanis. I think that. And when you say that I'm a racist, first of all, Starmer's not Jewish. His wife's Jewish. Second, when you say I'm a racist, come on, man. My wife's Christian. She's German. Yeah, blue eyes.
All right, Nima, you're going a little over the 2 minutes. So I'm going to send it back here to Sulaiman.
I didn't say you were racist. I don't know where you got that from.
Okay, it seems like we're losing Sulaiman again. Nima, can you hear him or no?
I don't know why you're obsessed with it. Like, you're so fixated.
I think it's time
Sulaiman, you're really cutting out. Hello? Wait, try talking.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, you're back now. I'll restart your time.
Yeah. The Mossad attacks. Nima, get your boys off. Listen. I never call you racist. I didn't say that, so I don't know where you got that from. This first thing is, I find this hilarious. You're just obsessed with Pakistan. Like, this debate isn't even about Pakistan, but this guy's obsessed with it. I find it hilarious. But let me just educate you, because, you know, my whole job is to educate you and educate everybody else. So, Musharraf, current Prime Minister or President of Pakistan,
I know that.
And neither did he invent the Taliban. Musharraf actually sided with the United States of America and helped Afghanistan. He basically was a U.S. proxy. He even has bases in Pakistan to bomb the Taliban in Afghanistan, demonstrating he is a vassal state of the United States, and he betrayed basically the Afghani and the Taliban. That's what he did in reality. And in terms of the Taliban, everybody knows that teach you some history. They were basically founded by Israel, the United States of America, and Saudi Arabia to fight the Soviets in the 1970s. Al-Qaeda was created in that way. Like, what are you talking about? That's the second thing. When I said BRICS, I didn't mean a social media account, bro. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the alliance, which is Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Let me help you. I'm an educator. This is what I do. So that's what we're talking about, because India and China are aligned together. Pakistan and US are aligned together. I don't agree with it, father. I think that I agree with you. They betrayed the people. They've sold their country out for foreign nations. I agree with you on that. And this is all distinct, because you guys don't do that. You guys, no matter what country you're in, you'll be in the strongest positions of power in the United States, in the United Kingdom, and you will always put Israel first. You guys are dual citizens. Even if you're not dual citizens, you have a right to on that right to return. You guys put Israel first. Someone like the Sheldon Adelson doesn't have an Israeli passport. Israel first. And so that's why you guys can't be trusted. And when you talk about Russia, I agree with you. But you know what race Zelensky is? Do you know what religion Zelensky is? I think he's another one of your cousins. Every single time. You're all everywhere. Whatever prime minister is, whatever president is, you guys control everything through AIPAC, through the Labour Friends of Israel, through the Conservative Friends of Israel. You control Nigel Farage, you control Keir Starmer, you control Biden, you control Trump, you control everything. Like, this is how you've done it. You've taken control of the West and you destroyed it with liberalism, feminism, leftist ideology. You've destroyed the white race. You caused the population collapse. You guys are anathema, and I do actually think there should be remigration for you guys.
Okay. All right. Nima?
I think there's we got like what, 50, I think every British person can understand what I'm about to say when I say this. There's like what, 50 countries that have a Muslim majority. I respect Islam, I'm just saying there is. Why do so many of the migrants go to the West?
You asked me.
Question?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Okay. Okay, it's a good question. It's a very fair question. The reason for that is because twofold. First of all, they do take migrants in. The ones that don't take as many, I disavow them. But the reason migrants is because psychologically, think about it. Your Zionist buddies destroyed the Middle East. These people don't have homes. They look for homes. They look for stability. Where is this stability? There is stability in Europe and America. And this has been part of your guys' plan to cause destruction in the Middle East, to cause a population collapse. That way you destroy Christianity and Islam, destroy browns and whites. That's basically the aim of the Zionists. And obviously they destroyed blacks through hip hop and this kind of culture, music culture that they created in the United States of America. You guys, your whole business to destroy all societies. And that's the problem. And when there isn't a society that's been destroyed, for example, you guys have deals with the UAE and therefore you don't destroy that country. There's a lot of migration that happens there. The 80-90% of UAE is migrants and different countries. They're from India and Pakistan. And there's a lot of migrants from the West as well. And the reason is, what's the difference? It's a Muslim majority country because Israel isn't destroying it. So it all comes back to the same problem. Destroy countries, you cause migration, you cause population collapse. Your real reason is you hate everyone based on what happened to you guys for 1,000 years. And I do think that you guys were oppressed in certain instances. But you never allow hatred to turn, or fear to turn to hatred and evil. And this is what's happened.
Okay.
All right. Do you guys want to like switch topics, or you guys want to stay on the same topic, or like what are you guys feeling here?
Let's go next.
Yeah, we can switch. Yeah, we can switch topics. But can I just say one more thing in response to that?
Go for it.
So, thank you, Sulaiman. So, if you go to India right now, I think it's safe to say they're dealing with Pakistanis that go to India and basically rape and commit terrorist attacks, right? You know that. You know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. And if you go to England, you have migrants that are coming there and raping and grooming the British girls. If you go to Germany, they have the same problem. If you go to Spain, they have the same problem. If you go to France, they have the same problem. I mean, what is it now? 120 countries? And it's the same sort of migrant every single time. What's your response?
I will respond to that. So, as I've already explained and proven that when it comes to sex crimes in the United Kingdom, disproportionate. It's disproportionate for your friend Tommy Robinson, who you love. So you need to disavow him for you because you support rape and abuse if it's friends. But in terms of India, actually, India is known as one of the rape capitals of the world, and is done by Indians, and because they believe in a higher structure, a bit like you Zionists. That's why you work well together. There's a hierarchy in India, there's a hierarchy in Israel, and that's why Hindutva and Zionism together, they're almost the same thing. But what's interesting is actually you guys. Why is it you guys were thrown out of 109 countries over 1,000 times? That's the real question. Is it because you were causing harm to society? Is it because the Europeans were sick of you? Is this your revenge on the Europeans, that the reason why you destroyed their society, caused population collapse, caused the destruction of the society, caused mass migration? I'm against migration. I already said to you, I think immigration should stop. And my position is from the left wing because I think it harms the working class. You want migration, but from your Indian brothers, and you want migration because you Jewish Zionists want to destroy the United Kingdom. So we disavow you. You harmed our society too much. Stop the stop the harm, stop the bombing, stop the destruction, and stand for yourself. Don't take all our money and all our resources. If Israel is left on its own, it will cease to exist, and that's your problem. That's why you take over all societies.
I find that rich coming from a Pakistani, considering how much money you guys borrowed from the Saudis, the United States, and the Chinese Communist Party, your master, and you're still basically in an economic crisis. I mean, I find that incredibly rich, considering how many Pakistanis have raped, groomed, and injected heroin into British girls. I find that rich, considering how much the Pakistanis go into the streets of England and spit in the British man's face. I find that rich, considering the fact that as a Pakistani who got fed when he was on his knees begging for a British person to let him in his country, when you and your family were begging to get into England, you begged to get into England to get the free home, to get the heat in the winter, you get your nice blankie, you get nice and cuddly, you get your food. And then what do? You push this, this hate for Western civilization. You're there to conquer England, and they're terrified of you. And I look forward to mass deportations where the British freedom fighters take back their country. I'm on the side of the British doing mass deportations. I'm definitely on their side. And I think I'm glad that Europeans are waking up, Sulaiman. I'm glad that they're waking up. And the only thing I feel bad about are the good migrants that are not breaking the law, that are respectful. And unfortunately, there's migrants like you who push such hatred, like your girlfriend, Shabana Mahmood, Bushra, your other girlfriend, Bushra, the Pakistani, and it's just a shame, man. It's just a shame because you're making it worse for all migrants. And the fact that you take zero accountability for all the gang raping that the Pakistani people did, your country, your people in Pakistan, to the little girls, also to the Indian girls, also to the British girls. And you don't take accountability. You seem like you lack remorse. It's almost like you endorse it, honestly.
All right, Sulaiman, you want to respond to that before we switch topics here?
The only person in rape is you, right? Because it's your boy and your friend who's done it. And let's be clear on this. If there's anybody who should be removed from this country, because let me be clear on this. You've been accused of sending messages to underage girls, but you were let off. Were you let off because you were a Jew? Probably you were let off because you're a Jew, right? So in reality, let's be clear on this. And what actually happens is migrants like you, Jewish migrants like you, come to foreign nations and then they destroy those nations. So you and your friend Tomer Alexandrovich can take part in these horrific crimes, these horrendous crimes, but you're let off because you guys run the governments, don't you? You guys control the governments, and you are a traitor, right? Because you're an Iranian who left Iran, who raped and pillaged the country, stole from the country and to Europe, and then used that money for Zionism and then supported the bombing of Iran. You cannot be trusted. Man cannot be trusted because a traitor, a guy who turns on his people whenever he wants, he can never be trusted. And this is who you are. You want Iranians to die by Israeli bomb because you're a traitor. In terms of the rape gangs, because you're fixated on, once again, I disavowed the gangs. I disavow them. But you support it when it's Tommy Robinson and your friends. You support it when Jews do it. And you support it when Indians. You are a horror on British society. And you should be removed from British society and all these European countries. Because all you guys have ever done is when you come to these countries is to sow havoc, sow destruction, and basically be responsible for the murder and killings of millions upon millions of people. And I would say, have some shame. Have shame, Nima. Have some shame. Become a human being. Stop supporting rape with your friends and say, I disavow it, irrespective of whether. I'm not holding your mouth. I've not heard you say, if Tommy Robinson's are linked to it, if anybody's linked to it, if of it, I disavow it. Or even if Indians are responsible for it, or Pakistanis, whoever it is, I disavow it. But you won't disavow it, Nima. Why? Why won't you disavow it? Tell me, why?
Sulaiman, you keep talking about my friend, a freedom fighter, family man, British patriot and hero, Tommy Robinson. You're making these allegations of rape. However, your boyfriend, your boyfriend, Andy Tate. Andy Tate's the one that has how many counts now of human trafficking and rape? I don't know. He has a ton of allegations. I hope he gets a fair. And by the way, I say that I hope Andy gets court with a fair judge. I hope he gets a fair trial. However, I find that incredibly rich, considering how much you've made money with Andy Tate. I think you have made money with Andy, haven't you? Andy was paying you. Am I right or wrong? And the fact is that here you are, buddy with Tate, Andy, also known as Andrew Tate, little bro Andy. And little bro Andy has what, 50, 60 counts of allegations of human trafficking and rape. And I hope he's innocent till proven guilty. I want to emphasize that. But I find that disingenuous. So I find that disingenuous.
All right,
so were you like Andrew Tate's fanboy, like running around trying to find anybody who knows Andrew Tate? Like you were his biggest fanboy, I know. Like you were like, Andrew, please acknowledge me. Andrew, please, do you know me? So let's be clear on this. Like you were his biggest fanboy. He was your biggest crush. And when he didn't acknowledge you, you turned on him. It's like a spoiled little girlfriend. The man doesn't acknowledge her. He gets dumped, and then he goes on a tirade. Like you became the fanboy, and then the jealous girlfriend. So let's be clear on that. That's you talking about yourself. You are obsessed with the guy. Look, even on this, I've not brought him up. He's not relevant to this debate, but obviously he's relevant to you. Second thing, I didn't get paid by Tate. That's news. That's propaganda. You know, because I met you in Florida at that time. That wasn't prearranged. You messaged me to me. It wasn't prearranged. You'd realize I was in Florida. Asked me to meet. So let's be clear on that. You are Tate's fanboy, but unfortunately, he didn't give you the flowers, and poor old Nima got upset. And by the way, isn't Tate your boy? Tate your boy? What's his name again? Tommy Robinson's mate as well, or used to be mates. I don't know how close the relationship is now, but I know they were mates as well. So again, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I like in regards to Tate, I just like to emphasize I have pretty good friendship with Tristan. I spoke very briefly with Andrew. And Andrew was going to actually publish my Alpha King Nima book. And the reason that we stopped talking, and I still have good friends with Andrew, and they're good guys. I'm not going to say their names. And I never talked bad about them despite my disagreements with Tate, was not because of anything other than the fact that I didn't like his hatred for the Jewish people. That's actually the reason. There was no other reason other than that. I just want to emphasize my website for my book. When I was going to do Alpha King Nima, which I didn't, I was going to publish it. Then I wound up getting canceled. This is during election year 2024, basically, the cancellation. I think we both know how much better now social media is now with Trump as president. I think at least we can agree on that.
I got my blue check mark away.
I think you and I can agree that we both we're doing at least way better on Instagram. And because I know before you had like 1,200 followers when I met you, now you got like 230,000. And, the thing is that my book was How to Not Be a Bitch, Alpha King Nima. That was actually on a website that was going to get published through Andrew Tate's comic book company, So the only reason was politics, man. But if you want to believe that route, that you can. But that was actually, it was nothing else.
Yeah, but I never brought him up. So that's all.
No, it's because I didn't want to bring up Tate. I just think it was a cheap shot when you keep bringing up Tommy Robinson.
Do you disavow all his criminal convictions?
I just think
it's a criminal conviction.
He's a convicted felon. I think it's a cheap shot. I think it's a cheap shot to bring Tommy Robinson, a family man, freedom fighter, and then
He's
say
divorced.
I can't bring Andrew Tate.
He's
I just think that's
He's divorced. He's
disingenuous.
not family man.
Andrew
How
Tate's
is family man? He's
facing
divorced.
like 50. Andrew Tate's facing like
He's
50
divorced.
allegations of
Is your boy
sexual-
All right,
divorced?
guys,
Yes or no?
we're getting a little
Is-
off topic
is
here.
your
We're getting a little bit off topic.
Is your boy divorced? Is your boy divorced? How
How many allegations of trafficking is Tommy Robinson facing?
He's a criminal felon. He's been convicted times of hooliganism, mortgage fraud, and various other crimes that have nothing to do with journalism. And on top of that, I've mentioned the vast, overwhelming rapes and grooming and pedophilia that is connected to him. And so I say he should do an inquiry into anyone linked, connected, and know Tommy Robinson. You want that, don't you? You want justice for the women, don't you, man? Do you want justice for those women?
I think you should be careful, man, because you're engaging in defamation. You're saying that he raped. When you're saying he raped.
Guys, we're getting way off topic here.
When you're saying he raped, you're saying, well, because he's insulting my because he's insulting my.
This guy doesn't respect British women. This guy doesn't respect British women. This Jew thinks they got him. That's why.
Guys, we're just talking over each other now. We're not getting anywhere right here. All right.
Listen, he just slandered my friend. He said basically my friend raped 100 girls. Come on, Sullivan. That's defamation of character.
People friend and linked to him. No, I didn't slander. I've done a thread. Jima, maybe you take time out and read my thread. You'll be able to educate yourself. And then stand for those women. I know you don't respect these British women because obviously because he's a Jewish agent, you think that it's okay for someone who is a Jew or connected to Jews to do that. But just stand up for them, bro. Tom Alexandrovich. Why has he escaped to Israel? I heard you stood up for him as well. You stand up for your people every single
My wife
time.
is German. My wife is one of them. My wife is a Christian. What are you talking about? I don't stand up for my daughter. Doesn't have a Jewish mother. Come on, man.
But she's got a Jewish father.
Let's go to
A Jewish father, yeah, but she doesn't have a Jewish mother.
All right,
Has a Jewish father.
new topic. Is Zionism or Jewish supremacy an issue? Like, is that an issue in society? Sulaiman, I'll let you start with this one because Nima started the last couple topics. Yeah.
Zionism is Jewish supremacy. This idea that Jew is above Gentile. And we see this through all aspects of society, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in the US, whether it's in Europe. They control the media, they control the government, they control all aspects of society. And even within their own Jewish tradition, this idea that a Jewish man is more valuable than a non-Jewish man. For example, in Sanhedrin, according to Maimonides, he says, if a Jew was to rape a 3-year-old Gentile, a Goyim, a non-Jew, you need to kill the child. The reason you kill the child is because they don't have a soul. They're like an animal. And she's defiled a Jewish man. Therefore, you need to kill the child. This is an example of supremacy. Also, they have this idea that during the end of times, all Muslims will be their slaves and all Christians will be wiped out. So that's from the religious context. And then from the non-religious context, you see it. They basically have it where they have apartheid laws in Israel. They have it in the US where they control the government. They have it in the United States where they're a United Kingdom where they have a Jewish prime minister, and then they control the entirety of our structure. You've seen it in the universities where now they hire people based on the IHRA definition. A poor old Christian, if he believes that Jews killed Jesus, which is a religious belief, they will get expelled from university. They have the Christians, that poor old girl who pushed the phone of this IDF person with the IDF shirt, and she got fired. She got from university, and Bill Ackman has financed and funded a huge number of people in terms of destroying their careers because of Zionism. Zionism is a huge problem. They're destroying Christian society and white society through population collapse, through liberalism, through feminism, and this destroyed, as I said, Muslim and brown society through bombing and destroying, and black society through the Hollywood and rap culture. It's always every single time to you guys.
All right, Nima.
I mean, first of all, this notion that Zionism is not Jewish supremacy. Zionism just means one thing, that the Jewish people, like every other nation in the world, have a right to live in safety and have self-determination in their ancestral homeland, right, which is Israel. My family was in Jerusalem prior to 1948, so this thought of telling me to go back to Poland is just complete nonsense. You look at me, I don't look Polish, and that's it. And we're not above anyone else. I don't look at myself as above anyone else. And I just want the same right that the French have to have France, that the South Koreans have to have South Korea. Now, you made another claim. You said that Jews control the media or the governments. I wish, man, because when I look at CNN, your favorite, and when I look at BBC, we're getting slandered nonstop. The New York Times put a picture of a girl who had a disability or some issue, and then blamed it on Israel. And then when they apologized, they didn't even do it on their main Twitter account, did they? They did it on their smaller one. They didn't do it on the one that had millions of followers. They did it on the one that had like 100,000, and they just got away with it, right? So this notion that Jews control the media or the government is basically just a Soviet propaganda. And as we both know, Sulaiman, because you've probably studied the pamphlet. In 1903, your favorite pamphlet, The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which you probably know every word at this point, every historian on earth has exposed it as a forgery. It was used to justify pogroms, literally, and later the Holocaust, which you probably enjoyed with those freak terrorists in Pakistan. And you just recycle it and you just repurpose it and you just say it to the new Gen Z. And then another thing you also said is you said that the quote about killing a child, that's not Jewish law. I'm a Jewish person, and I've studied the beautiful wisdom of the Torah and the Talmud. It's a lot of beautiful information in there. And I just want to emphasize something to you. The Jewish law you said killing a child in Jewish law, it's not the way that you just described it. That was a deliberate distortion. That was basically your ISI, Pakistani intelligence propaganda. And I'm almost done, Tyson. I'm almost done. The passage that he talked about, he twisted it from a discussion in the Talmud, which is a beautiful place for Jewish men to study and learn law, theory, philosophy. It's basically 1,500-year-old, it's like a legal debate book, okay? And it records a bunch of arguments. They're not commandments. So Maimonides, he was this famous rabbi, okay, and he talks about stuff like this, and he said that he never taught that non-Jews lack souls. Just so you know, in fact, he wrote that all human beings are created by Betzalum Elohim, in the image of God, Hashem, and that Jewish law demands protection of every human life, Jew or Gentile, like my daughter, like my wife. And finally, one last thing. 10 more seconds here, Tyson. Yeah. There's no teaching about killing Muslims at the end of time. The Jewish faith doesn't have a holy war doctrine. Okay, our prophets are dreaming of a day when nation shall not lift up sword against a nation, and that the knowledge of God will fill the land, will fill the earth. Peace, bro. That's actually our goal. So when you hear someone like Sulaiman, a potential ISI, Pakistani intelligence agent doing Soviet propaganda, when you hear him quoting Talmud verses or Zionist control, I want you all to know that he's not quoting Judaism. Okay, you're learning Soviet propaganda from 1904. So if you learn the actual sources and you read them in context, then you'll know that it was complete BS what he did.
All right, Sulaiman, I'll give you an extra minute to respond. You get 3 minutes.
No problem. I don't know what learning is, but let me go to the point about the New York Times. The New York Times is Israel controlled. The editors are all Jewish, and they promote and perpetuated the lie about the rape hoax. No woman was raped, but obviously your Zionist-controlled media did. You mentioned the BBC, over 100 employees came out and they signed a letter saying that the BBC forced them to perpetuate and promote pro-Israeli propaganda, control all of the media. And that's just the ones you mentioned. Never mind Fox News, CNN, CBS News. You control all of them. And Larry Ellison, your boys bought them. The guy has bought CBS and CNN as well. The only mention is they don't control it. Have you heard of something called AIPAC, who literally get 90% of the elected congressmen and senators elected? And in the US, you have the Labour Friends of Israel, the Conservative Friends of Israel. So complete of the governments. And that's why, for example, Keir Starmer, he was supporting the genocide in Gaza. He was complicit in sending aid, and he actually agreed with having the blockade into Gaza. Also, when you talk about the Talmud, they do have verses in there that talk negatively about Christianity. For example, they believe that Jesus is burning in his own excrement in hell of pure hatred against someone who is so blessed in the faith and in the Christian faith. How dare you guys disrespect them. In terms of, you mentioned debate, bruv, defending Tommy again. Even someone discuss in legal debate why it would be to rape a 3-year-old child and how you can make a comparison of that Gentile Goyim child and then make that comparison and make that argument. Also, let me correct you. I did not say that. Maimonides actually said that Jews are created in the image of God, and he did a ranking system based on the type of soul one has, with the Jews having a more elevated soul and non-Jews having a non-elevated soul. You can speak to any rabbi about that. They accept that. They don't lie like you, Nima, but what they do is they give a different interpretation. They say, look, even though we mean that, we don't mean it in that way. We mean it in Y way, we mean it in Z. In terms of eschatological text, I don't know what type of Jew you are, if you're Ashkenazi or not, but there is, for example, a Jewish Ashkenazi rabbi who basically said that during the end of times, those who were nice to us, they're going to get to be our slaves, which is the Muslims, because they believe the Muslims were nice to them. The beef with the Muslims only happened since 1944. That they were, generally speaking, ever. But the ones who were mean to us, meaning the Christians, they will be compared out. So they do have eschatology, they do logical text, they do believe the Messiah is going to return, and they do the Jews are going to reign supreme. Now, coming back to it, the reason why, and then another thing you not mentioned, the Jew supremacy we find in Israel, there's 3 laws that differentiate against Jews and non-Jews, Jews and Arabs, or the right to return, which means you, or even your daughter, like you mentioned, she's Christian, right? She can go to Israel, even though she's not a Jewish person. Palestinian who has keys in Palestine is not allowed to return to that country. How can that be? Why do you accept that supremacy? Why can't you say that as a man with a soul, I don't think I should be more valued than a non-Jew? A non-Jew should be equal to me. We should have equal rights. He should be allowed to return. I should be allowed to return. But the reason you don't say it is because you know that if they were to go back to Palestine, what would happen? They would be the majority. And how is it your ancestral land? Even the Jews, even if you go with the Bible, being outside of Israel, even according to their view, which I don't agree with, but even according to their view, they're outside of Israel more longer than they've been in Israel. They've spent more time out of Israel than they did. They spent about 1,500 to 1,700 years, and then they were expelled, and now they spent almost 2,000 years outside of Israel. They've actually spent more time outside than even according to their own interpretation. Even though when you do DNA tests, don't like DNA tests, Nima, you guys don't like the DNA test. DNA tests demonstrate that you guys have no links or heritage to that land. Actually, the Palestinians have links to that land, and they have DNA that links them back to the Canaanites. You guys have no lineage and no thing and no proof that you guys have any kind of DNA. That's why you don't like the DNA test, do you, Nima? What, you're going to be like 1% Jew and you're allowed from that land and you're allowed back in? How does that work?
All right, I'm gonna tip it back over to Nima here for a response.
Yeah, I wanna say you're very slippery with words, and it's nice. I want to emphasize, despite this sheer entertainment and Soviet propaganda, I like you, and it's hurtful how nasty you can be, but I'm about to talk about, some of the things you just said. So first, you went back to it, and it's very slippery, like a snake from Pakistan. You say that the Jews control the media. They don't. Okay. The media companies are literally public corporations, man, with thousands of shareholders, literally thousands, and editors of every background. You see how many woke people hate you. 1 minute you say that a lot of people hate the Jews. The next minute you say a lot of people love the Jews. 1 minute you say the Jews don't make any contributions. The next minute you're saying the Jews are very powerful with these organizations. I mean, pick which one is it? Are we either poor and stupid, or are we powerful and successful? I'd like to at least put me to one. Okay, and let's stick to that. But to do that logic fail inconsistency. Hold on, but let me finish. Let me finish. So the Jew and the Muslim, and I have respect for the Muslims. The Christians, the atheists, the Hindus, which I have a lot of respect for the Hindu, the Baha'i, the Zoroastrian, okay, the Yazidi, which the terrorists that you may support in ISIS go and behead and rape. I just want to say that when you single out the Jewish editor, you're just saying this Soviet propaganda over and over. You're essentially just saying Hitler's propaganda. Okay, that was used in the 1930s. That was used in the 1930s, and you're saying this BBC letter mentioned it was about newsroom bias in general. Okay, it was not Zionist control, and the BBC later literally publicly denied the claim. Now, second, you talked about AIPAC. You said, "Oh, AIPAC buys election." No, it doesn't, man. I know you're not American. You don't understand how it works. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm actually an American. AIPAC is just a legal lobbying group that's very respected here in the United States, just like an environmental or teachers union. It advocates for the U.S. and Israel to have a good relationship, a military alliance, right? And that's it. That's basically it. And if American voters choose, they can choose their representatives. We have a democracy here. It's not like your country, Pakistan. Okay, the Taliban run Pakistan. So if you believe money alone controls Washington, that's just not how it works here, man. And remember that there's hundreds of rival lobbies, like your boyfriends at Qatar, who spend billions of dollars more than the communist Chinese, who spend billions of dollars more than tiny Israel even has. Israel does not have the budget of Qatar or communist China. Okay, and there's also all these other lobbyists that spend money on everything from guns, oil, climate, pharmaceuticals. Bottom line is that Israel's lobby is not the only one in town. And one more thing. Please, one more. Okay.
All right.
He talked about the Talmud. And I say this to my Christian friends. My wife is a Christian. Okay. I have friends. One of my best friends are Christian. He says that the Talmud says Jesus is burning an excrement. Okay. The Talmud is a 1,500-year-old record of thousands of rabbinic debates between rabbis. Okay. And it isn't a single manifesto. It's just not. It preserves like every argument. Think of it like a record-keeping book. That's basically what it is. And including the one that it rejects. So when people are talking about, the Roman era, the jokes about false messiahs, they were never meant as a doctrine, bro. Okay. And they were censored out of the standard. And I think you know that. And the printings that came along afterwards. So the mainstream Judaism teaches actually respect for Jesus, who was a Jewish person. Jesus was a Jewish teacher, and for Christians as fellow children of God. Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak extra.
Of course. All right, Sulaiman, I'll give you an extra 2 minutes. You get 4 minutes if you want.
No. So let me try and.
Thank you, Solomon. Thank you, Solomon, for letting. Yeah, Solomon, thank you for letting me go, man. I just want to say, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to say I'm glad that you and I are able to have a conversation where we're adults and we're able to just talk and not over talk each other too much. Thank you.
All right.
No problem.
All right, Sulaiman.
Yeah, except for the ad hominem, which we've both been doing. So let me be clear on this. Let me educate you on nuance, right? So people hate Israel, but Israel controls the government and control what's happening. So you see the difference? It's not a contradiction. Now, in terms of ISIS, you mentioned ISIS was created by Israel. They were funded by America and Israel. And Netanyahu just recently admitted it. He said they said we were responsible for the overthrowing of Assad. So quite clearly, they were funding it, they were financing it, and they're the ones who protect us. So I disavow ISIS, but they're your boys. They're your boys, and this is what you guys do. You cause destruction wherever you guys go. Just like you did with 9/11. In terms of AIPAC, so AIPAC isn't your only lobby, because this is the problem with the Zionists. Because what they do is fund, and it won't be done through AIPAC. They'll hide it through different things. As an example, when your Mariam Edelson gives $100 million, or Sheldon Adelson, that doesn't go through AIPAC. Sheldon Adelson is an American, right? He's in a queue. But he's Israel first, because what he'll do is he'll give 100. And Trump admits he used to come to the White House, and every single time he would ask for things for Israel. He would say, move the embassy. He would say, we want to annex the West Bank. He would say that we want to completely take properties in the West Bank. Sorry. He would say that we want to have more Israel first policies. And he said, if you like, Mariam, I prefer Israel, America. And she didn't answer. And I took that as being Israel's. So that's an example of $100 being given when it doesn't count as a lobby group. So you guys control it that way. What you do is you control it through other different lobby groups. For example, 5 Jewish Zionist CEOs, executives, and they own the largest shares of it. So they pressure based on the pharmaceutical companies, and then they'll pressure based on them being Zionists and supporting Israel. Or, for example, marijuana. When the marijuana lobby group went to DeSantis, it wasn't because he was Zionist. They were Jewish Zionists, and they were pushing both agendas. So even the other lobby groups were through the Jewish Zionist agenda, even though it won't be directly through AIPAC. So you guys, and that's what you do. And that's why you've got to finance Israel in the way it does. And supposedly, Israel would not exist if it didn't have the funding the United States of America. In terms of Qatar, support Qatar, like, I disagree with Qatar. Qatar has the largest American base in their country. They should not have that. Qatar helped in terms of the bombing of Iran. So there are many incidences where Qatar has gone with the Israeli-American position. I disagree with it. I agree with the fact that they ally so significantly with things for Qatar people or for the entire community. They don't do that. So you don't need to bring the Qatar question. But even then, the lobby is nothing. And I mean nothing compared to the Israeli-controlled lobbying that controls every partition. And it's why you've controlled both sides. And it's why you can get both to be pro-Israel. Whereas in all other issues, you cause distress. It's 50-50, except when it's to Israel. Israel, it doesn't end up being 50. The other thing is Talmud. Maybe educate yourself in terms of knowledge. Get that person to send me the messages, because I know you're looking at it now. Get that person to tell you about hermeneutics. So Talmud, they have something called hermeneutics, which means what level or what type of knowledge it is. The Talmud provides you, according to Jewish rabbis, with certain knowledge. It means it's definitely from God. It's the same level as the Torah, because they say it's guaranteed from God. Whereas, for example, you can have other texts, like for example, the writing of the church fathers. That's not certain knowledge. That is the church fathers' knowledge. It could be right, it could be wrong. They consider Talmud as a knowledge. So certainly everything in the Talmud they believe is from God, it's divine. And so therefore, even though the rabbis say they believe it was passed on from generation to generation and it's real knowledge. And so they believe that Jesus is burning excrement. They do believe all those things. And they even consider, the nicest ones consider him a rebel, a guy who rebelled against Judaism, Jewry, and therefore he deserved what he got. As your good friend Ben Shapiro said, he got what he deserved. So you guys believe it, and this is why I say, look, respect Jesus, respect what he is, and do not get students suspended just because they believe in this thing. Just they don't believe in Jewish supremacy. You also did not cover the fact laws in Israel. You didn't talk about the right to return, because obviously you guys believe in this supremacist ideology. This is the problem, Nima. Nima, you are an individual. You have many different bits to you, right? You know, if you did a DNA test, you'd probably be 3% Jewish or something. So I don't even know how you get the land, because according to my DNA, I'm 12% Celtic. Does that make me the right? Does that give me the right? No, it doesn't. But for some reason, Nima that having a drop, the one drop rule. They literally believe in the one, almost like the KKK. They hate the KKK, but it's like the one drop rule. If I'm 1%, I want to take a DNA test, so we don't even know if that one drop rule works or if it exists.
Right.
But it's the one drop rule.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass this over to Nima now, because you're about 5 minutes. So, all right, Nima, response.
Okay, so hold on. Let me get my earpiece to work, because the Mossad and are giving me the script. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Got it through? Okay.
sorry about that, Sulaiman. I had to make sure the earpiece was working so I could answer.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't memorize.
I think is the instructions coming through now?
Yeah, they're coming in. They're coming in. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you don't read the script anymore.
Yeah, I can't read the script. Yeah, I had to memorize my script. I didn't memorize my words.
I
didn't memorize my words. Okay,
so you didn't do a good enough job. I done the 7,000.
Yeah, I didn't memorize. You got me. And you went off script. You said some things I didn't expect. So now I'm sort of caught. That's the thing about podcasts. You can't hide. You can't hide. You can't hide on podcasts.
They give you a script. If someone says something.
Yeah, you can't hide on podcasts.
4 minutes now.
Okay, so Tyson, can I go now?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Okay, so this notion that both sides, first of all, it was something that was a logic fail, a big logic fail in your debate. And I expect more from you, especially someone who is a, graduate student. I would have given you an F for that dissertation that you just said. You know what I'm talking about. Both sides are controlled. That notion, that thought works on a low IQ audience. But the fact is that in any democracy, you notice, Sulaiman, you'll see support in, for example, for Israel across party lines. Why? Because Israel is literally a U.S. and European ally. It's not like the terrorists that come from Taliban that the Pakistanis support, your people, and so this notion that there's both sides controlled is false. The lawmakers visit Israel, like they also visit Qatar, your favorite country, and they train with cybersecurity experts, right? And they share intelligence, right? They're not lobbying all over Europe, all over Washington and England and conquering like the Qataris do, which complete outsides. Who owns more of London than the royal family? The Qataris, not the Jews. Okay, so I think you both know that. So it's also why the same governments will, like America, we cooperate. The Germans cooperate with Ukraine or Taiwan. Okay, but that agreement doesn't say that tiny Israel controls America. America, if anything, Israel is a vessel of America. The reason why your masters, as a Pakistani, your master is the Chinese Communist Party. They want you to do this disinformation to the Europeans and to the Americans to suggest that, Israel is so powerful because you want Israel out of the Middle East so the communist China can take over Palestine and build a military base there, right? You don't once talk about the super embassy that's going to get built in London because that's your Chinese communist master as a puppy for the Chinese Communist Party. Now, you want to talk about, hermeneutics, from the Talmud. I understand that's probably what your ISI boss told you to do your gotcha moment on me. I get it. You practiced your script. You're reading from a script and you want to say that to me. But the Talmud is not a secret book. It's just not a secret book of supremacy. Okay, it's literally, I want to emphasize once more, it's a 1,500-year-old record of debates, legal, ethical, sometimes poetic, right? And you'll find arguments in there, counter arguments in there, and disagreements that often end with the law is not like this opinion, right? So you're quoting one line without the context or the argument. It's like quoting a Supreme Court dissent and claiming it's U.S. law. In Jewish learning, hermeneutics simply just means that it's the method of interpreting the text. That's it. It's asking, like, is this literal law? Is this moral guidance? Or is this allegory? Okay, only the Torah, the 5 books of Moshe, okay, is considered revelation directly from God. And I don't know where this Talmud, this Soviet this Soviet propaganda you're saying. And my last point of this is that the Talmud is just recording how human scholars wrestled with these divine laws and interpretations. So no, the Talmud isn't treated as the same as the Torah. It's just not. It's commentary meant to help, okay, apply the Torah to your daily life. And the bigger lesson is actually when a person takes a complex religious text that they've never studied and they use it to prove a conspiracy. Okay, so you're not doing education when you're doing that, bro. You're literally doing disinformation and you know it. And actual learning means you're reading the source. Maybe you're taking notes. You're looking at the context. And there's centuries and centuries of commentary that surround all of this, man. That's it. That's literally it, man. And the biggest lesson that I've learned from the Talmud is the importance of a Jewish person to have humility. And I say with humility, I respect you. I say with humility, I think you are a knowledgeable person about what you're talking about. And I appreciate once more that you have been polite to let me finish what I'm saying. Thank you.
All right, Sulaiman.
I know you gave me an F. The problem is you're like an uneducated person trying to grade. Like your grading doesn't have any value. So how can one grade when they don't even know how to write a sentence? So that's the first problem. So your grading system is rejected completely. The second thing is in terms of shared intelligence. How is the Israelis sharing intelligence when they were working against the United States of America and sending intelligence to Russia and then taking Russian intelligence and sending to the United States of America? They also stole U.S. nuclear secrets. They stole, let me repeat that. They stole U.S. nuclear secrets. 2 men were involved. A Jewish Israeli and the second working in Hollywood, and the second one was a Jewish American who, again, once again, they don't have dual citizen, but then they support and the allegiance is to. So how are you guys sharing intelligence when you're against the United States of America? And this is the problem. There is a national security threat in the US and in the UK when this happens. In terms of China, listen, I'm not pro-China, I agree with you. I'm pro-West. So I don't think China should be able to. If you look at the nuclear plants that United Kingdom were going to give to China, I spoke vocally against it because I thought that, again, that was a national security threat. But I'm consistent, but you're not. Whenever it comes to your boys, you're like, it's forget about it. Let's rape, pillage the United Kingdom, the United States for Israel. This is where the supremacy occurs. You know what's strange, though? Have you noticed? Mark Zuckerberg, Jewish Zionist. His wife is Chinese. Larry Ellison, Jewish Zionist. His wife is Chinese. It's a very consistent pattern. It's a very consistent pattern. So you need to look into that. There is some kind of action going on between these nations where somehow your people get in control. Your people control all social media. You control Instagram, which is part of Meta. You control Facebook, that's part of Meta. Zuckerberg's a Jewish Zionist. You control TikTok, Larry Ellison, Jewish Zionist. You're about to shut it down when you didn't have control over it. You control X now. Made poor old Elon Musk go on an Auschwitz tour and do his humiliation ritual. And then you took control over that. Every single social media platform you guys now control. Every single media platform you guys control. And in terms of hermeneutics, I know it's a bit of a complex word for you, Nima, but it's all right. But I'm talking about that the Talmud provides certain knowledge. They believe that everything in the Talmud is wrong. They don't believe it can be wrong. They believe it's all right. That's the problem lies. For example, when you compare it to the writing of the church fathers, that's the difference is because the writing of the church fathers, the church father can be wrong. He can write something and he can be wrong. He's a human being. But they believe the Talmud is divinely inspired. It is from God, passed rabbi to rabbi to rabbi, who continue to record the information. They believe for the Torah and they believe the same for the Talmud. And what I say is the problem you have when what you see with Islam and Christianity is they're global religions. Tyson, someone like myself, someone like you, a mixture of few different races, all can become Muslim. All can become Christian.
True.
No, they are global religions. Soul, my soul, your soul, all equal. For Jews, though, you can't convert. They only let people convert who are basically, it's a political benefit or whatever it may be, but they make it extremely difficult to convert. They have different laws for Jews, Gentiles, and this is the problem. It is a hierarchical structure. Never mind the fact that obviously Judaism itself, from a theological perspective, there were some issues, but that's neither here nor there. That's not relevant to this debate in terms of it being a polytheistic religion and then becoming a monotheistic religion later. Coming back to the point, when you look at what's happening, Nima, what you should do is, look, you're a Yamini. You allegedly...
Okay, I think we just lost Sulaiman.
First people in Iran.
You're cutting out again, man. We can't hear you.
Oh my God. What are your boys doing? I've never had my stream every single day.
Yeah, you're back now. All right, continue.
Oh my God, what his boys doing, bruvs? He's got him in the ear. He's
D-Dog.
got his notes. He's got them back in the space.
Fucking Mossad.
Hold on. Let me tell the Zionists back in the cafe. Please don't bother Solomon's technology, guys.
And so
Please,
what I
stop it until we finish. Okay, Moshe, thank you very much. Okay, you're good, Solomon. It should work.
Coming back to it, Nima, you, sorry, what I said was you're a mix of everything, and yet you would be accepted, right? So you're claiming that you're a one-drop Jew. Look at Iran. You don't, but wasn't your family member the first female in Iran? And then they turned on Iran and asked external people to come and bomb Iran. This is the problem I've got. To Jewish people, their loyalty is never to their own country. Even when the country gives their opportunities, it's always Israel. And that's where I have a problem. I don't have a problem with Israel having their own land. If they're not pressing someone, not stealing someone's own land, not taking away someone's own land. Find a place in the middle of nowhere. And if you want to create a supremacist religion amongst your own people, you can do it. And by the way, I don't agree with a Muslim supremacist religion area or a Christian supremacist. But the difference is you got different rules for your own people, Nima, and it ain't good enough.
All right, Nima.
So you're basically a Pakistani ISI agent, and you You just shamed and you slandered my cousin, and she was a judge. You're right, but she was also, Shireen
She the
Obiday
fifth.
was also Shireen Obiday was also a Nobel Peace Prize winner who spoke for women, and she also spoke for women's rights. And I also never met her. My father knew her mother. My father passed away. My father knew her mother, Minu Yamini. I'm Nima Yamini, and her mother is Minu Yamini. And I never met Shireen, and I don't know Shireen, and I literally don't even know her. But yeah, she is my genetic cousin. Now that said, I love Iran. First of all, just so you know that my father was a very Iran first guy, and a lot of my views on the Middle East come from my father, who would say to me that we're not Arabs. We are an Aryan people, an Aryan civilization. Iran is basically Aryan in Iran. And I stand up for the Iranian people. It hurts me when I see that the Iranian person makes makes $240 a month. And it hurts me when I see the Iranian regime send over $100 billion to these Arab terrorists, your boyfriends. And instead of investing that money back into Iran to help the Iranian people. I'm not talking about Islam. I'm talking about an Iranian regime that has killed innocent girls, that has truly stolen from their own people. And 8 out of 10 Iranians do not approve of the regime. This has nothing to do with Islam. This actually just has to do with a government that's incredibly corrupt and stupid at sending money to Arab terrorists abroad, or billions of dollars abroad, and then at least $100 billion to buy luxury homes overseas. And it's just not right, man. It's not right, and you're not speaking for Iranians when you do that. I didn't. First of all, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. I never betrayed Iran. I never left Iran. My grandfather's married a Jewish woman. His middle name was Muhammad. So, he was an honest person. He didn't actually leave Iran with millions of dollars like other Iranian people did. He loved his country. He was an Iran first guy. And there was a revolution, and that's why he left. So, I understand your ISI and, you're doing the spokesperson stuff for your propaganda. But now, how much do I have? Like another minute to just talk here, Tyson? Because I want to
have another minute if you wish. Yeah, I'll just add it on to Sulaiman's time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, because he talked about the Israeli spies. Okay, now first of all, I'm not an Israeli citizen. I'm an American citizen. I do not work for the Israeli government. I do not work for the Iranian government. I do not work for the German government. I work for no government. I'm an American citizen who's putting America first, right? And a part of putting America first is protecting our ally, Israel, which provides intelligence for us, which provides military technology for us. And I love Israel. And I definitely am an unapologetic supporter of Israel. And a lot of people admire Zionists. That's the fact. A lot of people admire Zionists because of their bravery. You could say that the nationalist movement in Europe has largely been inspired by Israel. Why? Because Israel has borders, language, and culture. Borders, language, and culture. Shout out to Dr. Savage for that. And I think that that's inspired a lot of far-right leaders in Europe who wish they had borders, language, and culture like Israel does. Now, you talk about Israeli spies stealing U.S. nuclear secrets. And that's a complete, the way you lie and distort that is honestly quite rich. Then you talk about Jonathan Pollard. You know exactly who Jonathan Pollard is because you're an ISI intelligence agent, right? So an American who illegally passed classified information to Israel in the 1980s. He was caught, he was tried, and he was literally imprisoned by the United States. And you know that. And one man's crime doesn't mean that a country controls the U.S. intelligence apparatus. And you know that too. And since then, Israel, just for the record, and the U.S. have built a formal intelligence sharing program that helped both countries stop terrorism and cyber attacks. When the United States asked, when the United States intelligence agencies asked Israel's intelligence agency to stop helping communist China, they did. You know how bad communist China, your master, you Pakistani puppet of China, you know how much the Chinese communists wish they had Israel instead of Pakistan? You're like the leftover. And you know that. You're the left. The Taliban, Pakistan is the leftover because they couldn't get Israel. And now you're hating on Israel. Okay, now one last thing, and I just want to say, and this is my final note. You talk about Jewish supremacy. That is the opposite of what Judaism teaches, which is a beautiful religion. In Islam, they respect the Jewish faith. In Christianity, they respect the Jewish faith. It's the first 5 books of the Bible. It's the Torah. We're the foundation. Our Jewish faith is the foundation of Tyson's faith. Christianity is the foundation of Islam. We are a people of the book. Okay, please put a little bit of respect on that, because I think you do respect the Torah. Okay, the Torah says that every human being is created, but Tazalim Elohim, in the image of God. That's literally in the image of God. Jewish law demands justice for every Jew and non-Jew alike. That's why Jewish texts are studied worldwide as foundations for ethics and human rights. Thank you.
All right, Sulaiman.
Yeah, you're an American citizen who's hiding out in Germany, so I don't know how that works. The second thing is, in terms of women's rights, right? You said about Iran not giving women's rights. For some reason, your Jewish cousin was given a position of being a judge before anyone else. And what reward was she given? What reward did she give the people of Iran for giving her the honor of being a judge? She did what you did. Betrayed the country. Asked for Iranians to be bombed. Asked for Iran to be attacked. Demonstrates that this traitorous nature that you guys have got enshrined in you guys, because Israel before your own nation, and she betrayed Iran, and she's not the only one. She was given the position of judgeship, and other women are given high-level positions in universities. I don't even think, listen, I'm not a feminist, so I don't even think that in all of these positions, I think women should be at home. I know you guys believe in feminism and liberalism in Western society because you want to destroy it. But that being said, let me be clear on that. Iran is very liberal in that sense. They have women in universities. They have women in many positions. You're an example of that. Your cousin is an example of that. And the reward you guys give is this, because this is the problem. You guys are willing to treat anyone for your own people. And you mentioned Jonathan Pollard. Well, what happened with Jonathan? Your Jewish Zionist cousins, what did they do? Got his sentence commuted. Then Sheldon Adelson, you know, the same guy, you can see every single time it goes back to the same people. Sheldon Adelson, who's an American Jew, he's not an Israeli. He got him flown back to Israel. All the way back to Israel. This guy who decides US policy got him flown back to Israel, gave a grand welcome, and the first thing kissed the feet of Israel. Because all of these Jewish Americans are always Israel first. Just like you, Nima. You will leave America, go to Germany, doesn't matter where you go, but your mind is always Israel, because your Jewish nature comes before anything else. And this is the issue you have. Reject this, put in Israel first, and respect the land you're in. Put them first. Put those countries first. This is where we disagree with you. You mentioned that people only earn a small amount of money in Iran. You're right. This is a problem. But do you know why they earn such a small amount of money? Because you guys control the United States of America, and the United States of America, even though Iran threat for the United States of America, have placed major sanctions on Iran, and that harms the Iranian people. You claim you're Iranian, and yet my heart goes out to the Iranian people who are suffering because they are not getting access to these things. And it's only through deals that they're making outside the sanctions that they're able to survive. Again, demonstrating that being a traitor in your blood, Nima. You are an Israeli Jew who is willing to trade anyone for Israel. You only probably have a % of blood, of Jewish blood. Have you had a DNA test? When you could not answer this, when you come to your thing, let me know if you had a DNA test, because I know it's not according to your religion to have DNA tests, because it'll demonstrate that you're all not even from that area. But I want to know that. I bet you're not even you're probably 1% or something. But even the 1%, when you're told you're a Jew, it mentally makes you up. So I don't think it's a genetic. I think it's mental and cultural that you guys espouse this issue, because you end up becoming Israel first. You mentioned 8 to 10 Iranians are against Iran. Again, another fake news. You guys try to do a color revolution right now. You bombed Iran for 12 days. Iran destroyed your country. You have to get the entire world to help you. All the Gulf nations, the European nations, and Tel Aviv was bombed, Haifa was bombed. You guys were struggling. You tried to cause a color revolution. But what did Iranian people do? They weren't like you and your cousin. They banded together. They said, even though we may disagree, We are united against this external force of Israel. Unlike you and your cousin, who will put Israel first and support the bombing of Iran and killing Iranians, where 1,000 were killed. An example that you are a traitor. You also mentioned the Torah, but in the Talmud, I already mentioned to you and already explained to you that this is the Jews that have been created in the image of God. And the problem that you have with Israelis, they're an intelligence issue. They were in 9/11. They were involved in 9/11 with Al Qaeda. Osama bin Laden was an American asset. Saudi was involved, and so was Israel. But you, once again, will never call out Israel. And what you'll notice is, guys, this pattern with they'll always put their own people before anyone else. They'll never call them out. We will call out. He mentions us with them, even though I've only ever been to the country once. Third generation, my children are fourth generation, all of them born in the UK. But obviously, he doesn't.
I'm going to cut you off soon here, Solomon. I'm going to cut you off soon here. Finish your point, though.
But he'll always put Israel first. But we don't. We'll call out everyone. That's the difference between us and them.
Okay. All right, Nima.
Yeah. So you're a Pakistani ISI agent, which is the Pakistani intelligence agency, and you keep mentioning my cousin Shireen Abideh, who is a Nobel Peace Prize winner for her incredible contributions to helping Iranian women get women rights in Iran and also human rights in the Middle East. And I'm very proud of the fact that at least in Iran, women are the most educated. You call it basically that women in Iran are the biggest whores. How dare you shame the Iranian people? You know, because my father was an Iranian and his mother was Iranian and she was not a whore. So how dare you speak about the Iranian people like that? And you're a Pakistani. You have some respect. I don't talk about your women like that. And the fact of the matter is that when I talk about Iran, I talk about it as a man who was raised with a father who was Iran first, who was not Jewish. My mother was Jewish. Not my mother is Jewish, not my father. And my father wanted an Iran that did not have the Arabs as their slave. Okay? I love Iran. I cried when I was in Iran. It's my ancestral homeland, just like Jerusalem is. And when you talk about me not having Jewish ancestry, my family, they were Cohens in Jerusalem before the state of Israel even existed. Before the state of Israel even existed, my family was in Israel. I'm not Polish, man. I'm not Ashkenazi. Okay, I'm straight up Jew, Jerusalem Jew. You know, so this and back then the Jews and the Arabs had conflict, yes, but they also coexisted. I'm more of an Arab than you. Okay, I'm actually Iranian. I've been to Iran. I've been to Israel. You have not. And I love Iran. And when you say, well, one last thing, when you say I betrayed Iranian people, how dare you talk like that about a country you know nothing about? You're a Pakistani agent. The bottom line is that I actually speak for 8 out of 10 Iranians. I literally speak for 8 out of 10 Iranians. Anyone can fact check me. Go on Google, look up 8 out of 10 Iranians that reject the regime. Anyone can Google that and look that up. Okay, and that's an Iranian source. That's literally an Iranian source. Now, when you talk about sanctions on Iran, they were imposed not just by the Zionist control of the U.S. No, they were imposed by sanctions from the EU, the United Kingdom. You know, the country you're in, that your Pakistani people are doing gang grooming the little girls, and those sanctions actually hurt innocent Iranian people. But but there you go, you blame Israel, you know, and you basically are erasing the fact that Tehran's own regime is literally sending over $100 billion overseas as they buy luxury homes. How dare you talk about the Iranian people like that, you Pakistani agent, when you know? How dare you talk about Iran like that, you Pakistani agent? How dare you talk about Iran like that when the Iranian regime took over $100 billion and sent it abroad to buy luxury homes, and then they sent over $30 billion to Syria alone and got nothing in return? Even the Iranian conservatives in the Iranian regime reject that. You don't understand Iran like I do, man. I'm actually an Iranian. Okay, so what I'm telling you, and the Iranian people have nothing to do with these Arabs, and the Iranian people have way more to do with the Israelis. And in the Persian Empire of Cyrus the Great, the Jews were welcomed in Iran, an area So how you don't understand the history, man? You're a Pakistani ISI agent who failed his study. You failed Soviet propaganda. You failed your dissertation. You dropped out of school like a failure, and then you go on here and you kiss Andy Tate's butt.
Whoa.
So let me be clear on this. I'm not a master's in education. You are a high school dropout because your dad stole money from Iran and you live off your dad's money because you're a little weak coward who can't earn his own money. You stole from Iran, you pillaged Iran, and you have nothing to stand for because you guys are a disgrace. You thief. You stole from Iran and you're using that money in order to live off while Iranians are struggling. I didn't say Iranians are hoes, so I don't know where you're getting that from. I think you get mixed up with the messages you were sending that underage girl. And so don't be talking about something I've said about Iran, because I never said they're hoes. In terms of your auntie or your cousin or whoever she is, this Iranian Jew who literally betrayed Iran and wanted their people murdered, she was in the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, Jews give Jews each other prizes. The Jewish people, they run the Nobel Peace Prize, give it to their own people. You guys wanted to cause destruction in Iran, and hence why you caused it. I think you should control yourself, because it's actually you who should be deported, because if allegations about you are true, you should be deported all land and basically put in a, like Tom Alexandrovich. But the problem is someone like you and Tom Alexandrovich are never ever given a fair never given a trial. You guys get away with murder because there's different rules for Jews and different rules for non-Jews. This is the one that we have. Now, in terms of what you said, one thing you accidentally said right. This guy lies about everything. He keeps on saying Pakistani ISA agent, even though I'm not. But he thinks this is a gotcha when it's not. It's just so lame ass. But obviously, he's not very smart. So that's the only thing he's probably put in bold in front of you. Because you can see he's reading right now. But that's the only thing he's put in bold, because that's the only thing he's able to read. He said Arabs and Jews coexisted. Exactly, Nima. They coexisted. And then what happened is your people end up oppressing them, occupying them, taking control of their land, and then abusing them for 75 years. This is the problem we have. You actually admitted that there was coexistence when it wasn't Jewish controlled. And as soon as it became Jewish, Israeli, Zionist controlled, that's when the coexistence ended. So thank you so much for admitting that. The other thing you mentioned is about grooming. I mentioned about yourself, but also I don't know if you guys, I don't know what was happening in that group, because Tommy Robinson is in, and people linked to him, Tommy Robinson, his friends, and people linked to him were all involved in grooming and abusing children. And this is the problem that you have. So when you say Pakistanis, yes, there are Pakistanis who did it. I disavow them. But what about you, Neem? What have you been up to? So let's talk about that. You should be deported. You should be deported out of all of Western society. But where can you go? Because you're allegedly a Mizrahi Jew, but you guys don't have links to Jerusalem. You claim you do. Show us the DNA test. I don't know about this Cohen thing or whatever it may be. Show us your DNA test. Show the evidence that you actually have it. Because you're a mongrel mix of like 10, 15 different ethnicities and races. You're like Iran first, you're Israel first, you're everything first. You're not anything first. You're Jew first, and you're willing to destroy any nation if it's basically impacts Israel. And a good example of that is your cousin, who basically betrayed Iran for, even though Iran gave her the honor. What did she do? She spat on the honor. This is why you guys aren't trusted. Why do you think Europeans threw you out of 109 countries over 1,000 times? Because of people like you, Nima, people like your cousin. You can't be trusted. You can't be trusted in the way you act. You're trusted in your betrayal. You guys are the biggest traitors. You guys don't love Iran. You love Israel. And you don't even love Israel. It's about Jews. You love Jews. And wherever Jews are going to benefit, that's what you put first. This is the problem that people have. You should not do that. You should put all people equal. In terms of the luxury items, this is a joke. Iran hasn't spending hundreds of billions of dollars on luxury items. They've been using minimal money they have to for the infrastructure within their own country. It's people like you and your family and these monarchists who stole from Iran, raped, pillaged the country and ran away, and then are hiding in the United States of America like your family. And as you said, you escaped in the 1970s with a huge amount of wealth. That's where your wealth comes from. And you basically escape from that country. What I say is, have a bit of honor, a bit of dignity for the country that you raped, pillaged, and destroyed and stole wealth from, and think about those people. Why do you want fellow Iranians murdered by Israel? Why did your cousin want fellow Iranians murdered by Israel? Have some shame.
All right, looks like Sulaiman just cut out at the end there. So Nima, I'll hand give the ball to your court there.
Yeah, so the fact of the matter is that I understand as a Pakistan, you're a Pakistani agent. I just want to emphasize that, and you're here talking about Iranian domestic issues. You've never been to Iran. You don't even know probably 4 or 5 Iranian poets' names. You probably cannot speak Farsi, and don't tell me I'm like Douglas Murphy and I'm on Joe Rogan and I'm talking about Dave Smith, and they say, "Oh, you've never been to the Middle East." No, I'm not like that. My family is actually from Iran, and they're actually from Jerusalem. I could actually have you look at a picture of my great grandmother, who was full Jewish in Jerusalem. Her family was completely from Jerusalem. They were Jewish. They were Cohen, which is a Jewish last name. That's not how you say it in Hebrew, but that is the English. So the fact of the matter is that the Judeo, and I know you hate this word, I know, because this is what you despise, because you want to conquer, pillage Europe. You didn't come to Europe you didn't come to Europe to assimilate. You're a Pakistani. You want to conquer England. You want to support the grooming gangs, basically, to rape their women. You disrespect Tommy Robinson, my friend, family man, who's largely known as a freedom fighter, who's loved in the streets. I've seen he's loved in the streets, and he's fighting the terrorists who you support. And the fact of the matter is that you came to conquer, right? You want to conquer. Like, you like the idea of Spain going back to an Arab country. You like the idea of Eastern Europe as completely conquered, with your boyfriends in Turkey, right? Close ally of the Pakistanis. So there's a lot of jealousy there, man, to unpack. And I think I can feel your envy. I understand, because you're jealous that China actually would want Israel if they could, but they couldn't. Then they go to Pakistan, like, that's like the leftover girl at the end of the party. They just take Pakistan, but they actually wanted Israel. And I know you're jealous of that. I know you're jealous of that, and your envy's showing, man. You got to control it a little bit. That's it.
All right. Okay. Moving on. What do you have to say to that?
That was funny. You're jealous. You're jealous. Oh, you'd be jealous. Great arguments, Nima. Yeah, your girlfriend, Tom Robinson, I've basically destroyed him many times. He's afraid of me. He's afraid of me. He's afraid to debate. He's afraid to come and have any kind of conversation, because I will debunk his lies. I will prove that people connected to him have a long history of grooming, abuse of white girls, and abuse of children. And I would prove that unequivocally. This is why your girlfriend, Tommy Robinson, is afraid to debate me. He agreed to it. Then after that, he went silent. So he knows who I am, but he's afraid to debate. In terms of conquering the West, the is, Nima, your people have already conquered. Your people have already conquered the United States of America. Your people have already conquered the UK. Your people have already conquered Europe. You even placed a Jewish Zionist prime minister, Keir Starmer, as the prime minister. He might be related to you, although he's Ashkenazi, so how can he be related to you? You guys claim that you're part of all different races, like a hybrid of 20 different races, and then somehow you still be a Jew. But the point being, Keir Starmer is a Jew, and you placed him in power. Nigel Farage is your other guy. You got Tommy Robinson as your other guy. You've taken over Europe. You've taken over the entirety of the world, and people want freedom from your people. That's why they've had enough. And lie and say why are people against us? Against us because now people have had enough. You guys have been exposed. You guys control all of the corporations. You guys control all of the big business. You guys control the direction of the United States. You guys control the direction of Europe, and you've destroyed the country. You've put liberalism and feminism into the United States and the UK, and you've destroyed our society. And you tried to do that with Iran, and they didn't let you. And just because I said they don't want feminism in Iran, you lied and said I call Iranians hoes, which I didn't say. But it just shows the Zionist manipulation that he did is what the Zionists have done for the last 25 years. And they've destroyed Western society on it. They've destroyed the family dynamic. They've destroyed all aspects of society. The reason this population collapse in the US and in Western nations is because of these guys. They've caused feminism. They've caused it where they don't want to have a household. They've done it where they don't want to have children. And this guy did it. This is punishment, because they say it's a punishment for the Holocaust. And stop punishing them, Nima. Stop punishing Americans. Stop punishing Brits and Western civilization. The Holocaust was the past. People nowadays weren't responsible for what happened in the Holocaust. Nor were they responsible for what happened in Spain, where Jews were almost eradicated if they weren't saved by Muslims. They're not responsible for it. Don't blame people now. Let them live. Let them exist. Let them to give control back to them of the media, of the governments, of all society. This is all we're asking. We know you control things. We know you've conquered. Well done. A small number of you, allegedly, I think there's a lot more than of you than you claim, but allegedly a small number of you conquered. Well done. You dominated, but stop the abuse.
Okay, Nima.
Yeah, the thing is that when he talks like that, he keeps bringing in Tommy Robinson, who's known as a freedom fighter, and he's a family man, and he's a very nice man. He loves his country, and he's very popular in England. And hopefully that he gets an opportunity. Hopefully he gets a chance to. I welcome when he's potentially the leader. Many view him as the Churchill of England, and I want you to know. I want to say it in your Pakistani face that I can't wait till Tommy Robinson is the leader of England and you're deported.
Oh, you want Sulaiman?
Yeah. So if Tommy Robinson's the leader of the UK somehow, which is impossible, he'll never be the leader of the UK. This criminal. I know you like criminals. Jews love criminals. But we'll give you opportunities, won't he? Maybe he'll put part of that grape gang that he's part of the hundreds of people that are involved. Maybe that's what opportunity you want. But guess what? There's not going to be any deportation. Tommy Robinson will never be prime minister. He's loathed by the vast majority of Brits. And if you look at it, the number of people who protest in the United Kingdom every single weekend, 500,000, million, 3 million, huge number of people. Tommy Robinson might only get 1,000 people, even though he promoted it and Elon Musk promoted it and everyone promoted it for him. Tommy Robinson is
Tommy Robinson didn't just bring out 1 million people. Tommy Robinson did not just bring 1 million people to a protest with British flags. You didn't lie like that?
It's 150,000 people. You guys love inflating the numbers, don't you? I think it was 6 million, wasn't it? Was it 6 million? I think Tommy probably brought 6 million in. But, love inflating the numbers. But in terms of, in reality, no, he didn't. And actually, the pro-Palestinian protests are much larger every single weekend. And the reason they do is because they
have a lot of British flags. And I hear they have a lot of British flags. I can hear it's like a conquered country. You love that. You love that. You love that it's a conquered country. You love that it's a conquered country.
Why was your point?
Palestinian flags, Taliban flags, ISIS flags.
Yeah, Israeli flags. Why did your boy Tommy Robinson disrespect British military personnel? British military soldiers were murdered by your people. By your people, 3 of them. They'd served the British Army. And I don't even agree with what they were doing because they were doing, but I still felt sorry that they died. Your people murdered them. And what did your Robinson do? He insulted them and said that they deserved it. This is, I'm paraphrasing, this is a disgusting guy. This is your guy who puts Israel before the British people because you guys pay him, you guys give him money, and you guys fund him. And he's funded by Robert Shulman, who funds Tommy Robinson, who funds the IDF, and he funds anti-Islam hatred. You're all part of the same crew. That's what you don't like. Tommy Robinson is not a family man. He's divorced. He divorced his family and left them. He became bankrupt because he lied, and then from the United Kingdom. He is a criminal and a felon with a long history of crimes, including hooliganism, mortgage fraud, and various other crimes. His criminal record is huge. Nima, I don't know what your record is. I really don't know. I've not looked into you. But it's a problem that this criminal is someone you support. It's a problem that these people are involved in the manner that they're involved in. This is a huge problem. And I say, the British people have suffered. I agree with you. They've suffered because your people control our country and you've destroyed all aspects of it. You caused Brexit to occur. You caused the COVID lockdowns. You guys caused the Keir Starmer to become the Prime Minister of the UK. You chose the previous Prime Minister, which is Boris Johnson, as the Prime Minister of the UK. You've made the UK, you've pillaged it, and I say that you people need to be deported. You talk about me being deported, I think for 110. you guys are an anathema to all societies. 110.
Okay.
Do you agree with 110, Nima?
All
Tyson,
right,
can I
Nima, what do you say?
go? Tyson, can I go in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I just want to say, Sullivan, you're a Pakistani ISI intelligence agent doing propaganda. And I just want to remind everyone that Pakistan, where you're from, is where Osama bin Laden was hiding.
True.
Osama bin Laden was hiding in your country, Pakistan, Taliban, Pakistan. And Al Qaeda murdered almost 3,000 people on 9/11. My country, the United States of
With
America.
Israel?
In Spain.
With
Hold
Israel?
on. Hold on.
Country.
In Spain, in 2004. Do you remember? Maybe you don't want us to remember, right? That what happened in Madrid? Those train bombings killed over 190 people, right? In Britain, your country, that you're terrorizing, you Pakistani grooming gangs are terrorizing the British girls, right?
Jewish people are terrorizing.
In Britain, on 7/7, you know what
Look at
happened?
you.
The bombings killed 52 British people, right? British people, or at least people in England. In France, the Bataclan massacre, you remember that? 130 were murdered for going to a concert. In Germany, where my wife is from, in Sweden, in Belgium, in Denmark, in Russia, in Turkey. These terrorists that you love, you know, your boyfriend, as a Pakistani, have cells that have struck subways, airports, markets, and churches. Kenya, Nigeria, Somalia, and Tanzania, Al-Shabaab and Boko Haram have killed tens of thousands of Africans, almost all of them. Also, fellow Muslims. I'm speaking for the Muslims. Okay, we're not even talking about that. We're not even talking about Jews. I'm talking about the Muslims. A Jewish man talking about the Muslims, defending their justice. And even Arab nations. You should have shame for yourself, you Pakistani ISI agent. Even the Arab nations like Egypt, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Tunisia have suffered horrific bombings by their own extremists that you support, right? So the pattern is actually, this is actually not, isn't Jewish, it isn't Christian, or it's not the West oppressing your terrorist cult. No, it's these radical ideologies, extremist ideologies, okay, that are destroying every society that they touch, even Arab ones. In the United Arab Emirates, they banned that filth, freak, genocidal, pro-Palestinian protest that you love. Most Arabs are peaceful, hardworking people that hate these killers that you love as a Pakistani. Okay, and that's the thing. That's it's just truly a shame that your denial helps no one. And the first step actually to defeating terrorism is to name it honestly, you know. And you refuse to do that as a Pakistani, and I reject it universally. And I support those inside the Arab world. I support the Iranians who risk their lives fighting for freedom. And it's a shame you don't. It's a shame you sell out your people. And it's a shame you supported a Pakistani Taliban government that rapes innocent children and daughters in Pakistan. It's a shame you support that.
Yeah, the only person on rape is you, Nima. We know about those text messages you were sending to Under allegedly. So if anyone who's part of group gangs, it's you, Nima. You groomed little children. So what are you talking about in terms of, I don't know if you got convicted for that, but then using your Jewish supremacy probably got let off like Tom Alexandrovich. In terms of Boko Haram and these ISIS extremists, they are Israeli funded, are Israeli agents, and they're extremists, and the funding is demonstrated. That goes back to Israel, United States of America, and Saudi Arabia. So what are you talking about?
Practice the script. Please talk slower and practice the script. Please.
Who did 9/11? You guys did 9/11. You guys are the reason why 3,000 Americans killed, and you guys murdered them and sacrificed them because you guys believe that a Jewish life is worth more than a non-Jewish life. You're a disgrace to all of humanity. But because you're a Jew, you believe that you can do this. Jews were involved in the extreme within Islam, and I agree with you. There is extremism in Islam, but you Jews are involved. You support it, you promote it, you perpetuate, and that's the reality of the situation. And when you talk about the United Arab Emirates, they believe in Salafist Wahhabism. This and the extreme elements within that are those who caused the issues that we're talking about, because you guys and them are involved in all of these issues. And so when you look at it, you're ashamed that as a Jewish man, you have caused all of these extremist acts. Your boys go and rape people, and then they go rape capital of Israel, and they go into hiding. Justice for the child that Tom Alexandrovich has raped in the past, and the child that is allegedly raped and then ran off from. Justice for the child that you were text messaging, allegedly. Justice for all of these people. But this is what you guys do. You're filth. Because you probably think that they are Gentiles. They don't have no value, and that they should be raped, and it doesn't matter. That's disgusting. People do not understand. And the difference between us is we disavow any forms of extremism. We disavow Pakistan when they stood with Israel and the United States of America in order to bomb other nations. We disavow Pakistan when they stand with Israel to harm other countries and harm society. You don't. You're Israel first. You put Israel or any country. This is the problem that you have. You've seen me in this debate disavow Pakistan, any form of grooming, disavow any form of extremism. But this Jew will never do it, because he'll always put his people first. He'll never call out Israel for the extremism, Israel for his terrorism, Israel for murdering 3,000 Americans. He'll never call out Israel for sending trade secrets to other countries. He'll never call out Israel for the murder, rape, and pillage. He'll never call out that Israeli who actually, the only Israeli from October the 7th that was raped was by a Jew like you. Looked a bit like you as well. And so you are I can't even call you an agent, because you got that level. Like, you're not smart enough, you're not eloquent enough, you're reading, you don't have any of those skills. So I can't even call you an agent. You're just someone who's doing their bidding, who hasn't earned his $7,000 this time. His money might have run out, and that's why you're jumping onto this bandwagon. The money daddy stole from poor old Iran. The Iranian people suffer with sanctions by you Jews, and then when your dad pillages the country and runs off, and you stand there. You're a disgrace to humanity. Tell your dad to send the money back to Iran, the money that he raped and pillaged, and you're living something you've never created or built. You feed off the suffering of the Iranian people. Stop your behavior. Your behavior guest in Germany and the United States of America. Well, United States of America, you're born, but you're a guest. And if you're saying I should be, then based on the same thesis, you should be deported, because you're in America committing and sending messages to underage children. So you should be deported in reality based on your action. But that allegedly. But that being said, coming back to the point, Nima, don't be Jew first. Be humanity first. I say I'm humanity first. Anyone who does any form of evil action, Pakistani, whether he's a Jew, whether he's a Christian, whether he's a Muslim, whether he's an Indian, whomever it is, I'll call all of them out. They've met all those people in some form have groomed and abused children. And out. All those people have harmed society in different ways, and I've called them out. But the difference between me and you is supremacy. You believe in Jewish supremacy. You believe your nation, the rules don't apply. You believe you guys can murder people and the rules don't apply. You believe you guys can steal and the rules don't apply. You guys can partake in pedophilia and the rules don't apply. You've conquered the world. You conquered the UK. You put your own Jewish prime minister in there. You conquered Holland. You put your own Jewish prime minister in there. You conquered Argentina. You put your own Jewish prime minister in there. You conquered Mexico. You put your own Jewish prime minister in there. You conquered the United States of America. You put Donald Trump in there. You have conquered every single nation. And everyone's sick of you guys. Everyone's had enough. Everyone wants peace. And everyone wants you guys out. Why don't you act like humans? Why don't you act like civilized people? Why don't you take the ideals of Western society, which is all man is equal, irrespective of race, religion, or creed? And do not treat Gentiles and Goyim as lower. And this is your problem, Nima. And this is the problem that you guys have. And this is what you did in terms of the text messaging. This is what your family member did in terms of Iran and becoming the first female judge and then telling people to bomb Iran. You guys are traitors to Western society. You guys are traitors to Iran. And you guys are traitors to your own people. And I say it's time for 110. If you guys want any form of deportation, the deportation I support is 110. Do you support 110? And actually, Nima, answer this question. Why were you thrown out from 109 countries? over 1,000 times. Please explain it.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
first of all, anyone can
Explain it.
go. Yeah, I just want to say you are a Pakistani ISI agent.
Like, literally, come on, bro.
Are we going to respect each other? Are we? You know, I know that you're used to the Pakistani grooming gangs. You terrorize the West. Let's have a
Texting
polite
underage
conversation.
girls and abusing girls and grooming girls. I think you're used to that. Yeah?
You're losing control of yourself.
You're a white girl you abuse.
Yeah. Okay. So, are you done?
The gloves
Okay.
are off.
Okay.
All right,
so,
Nima.
okay. So number one, before we get into the fun part, the actual fun part, I would actually like to talk about something else, Sullivan, because you talk a lot about this, like, this corruption and this fraud and this ripping off and all of that stuff. I want everyone who's listening to go on X, look up an account. I actually don't like this guy. Well, I don't like his views. He seems like a nice guy. He's an American. His name's Ryan. You know him. Ryan Mata. You know him. And
Yeah.
Ryan Mata Media. RyanMattMedia. Ryan Meti Media. And he talks about how this notorious scammer, Sulaiman Ahmed, was literally unmasked for allegedly masterminding. This Pakistani, you see me on the you're looking at a Pakistani that's helping occupy England right now, ISI agent, allegedly, who just got caught allegedly masterminding a brazen $2.7 million money laundering operation in the UK, a deceitful scam, like a crook, like a rat. And what was it centered on, Sullivan? You Pakistani ISI agent. It was centered on the LGBTQ inclusive schools for who? The Muslim children? Wow.
So you're saying
I think the Taliban would be very proud if they knew about that. Would you like to explain the $2.7 million money laundering you did, you little ISI Pakistani?
I will, you pedophile. So let me explain it, right? So this retard believes that there's a Muslim school that has LGBTQ. Are you so retarded? Maybe your cousin who supported LGBTQ and supported the bombing of Iran would happen. And by the way, those lies that this right-wing alleged neo-Nazi said is actually fake news. But obviously, you guys are going to perpetuate the fake news. I debunked that because that was a legitimate school. And
why don't you give back the money? Why don't you give back the $2.7 million? Will you just send it back to Pakistan for the grooming gangs to rape?
Where did the 2.7 from?
Well, yeah, tell me, where did it go? Why don't we do an audit of your financials?
We will. What's a private school?
I just want to know where the money went.
I'm telling you. So it was a private school.
Where did the money go?
I'm going to explain it.
Are you accusing Ryan Mata, an American, to believe you're Pakistani ISI agent?
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah. So listen, in school, parents paid money for the school.
Look how you sound nervous. Oh, what happened? The script? You don't have the script ready? What happened? Your little boss in Karachi. Your boss in Karachi doesn't have your script.
Didn't you groom a child? And text messages, you groomer.
Tommy Robinson
involved in your child grooming? Was Tommy Robinson in your child grooming? Was Tommy Robinson involved in your child grooming? Was that girl you tried to groom, Nima? Was it a German girl you tried to groom, Nima, and send text messages to? You disgusting pedophile. You disgusting pedophile. Is that what you tried to do, Nima? Is that what you did? Was it a poor old German child? Did you, as a Jew, think I'm going to a Gentile? Is that what you tried to do, Nima? So my school, as I mentioned, was a private school. Parents give fees, and that fees was spent on the school. There was no government funding. So your point is retarded. It was a private school. The money was spent on the school. You text messages an underage children, an underage child. Answer the question. Was it a German girl? You disgusting Jew. Is that what you thought, that you're going to do this to a Gentile? Is that what you thought, that you were going to do this to a German girl? Was it a German girl or an American girl? Because I know you've only escaped to Germany 6 months. Is that why you escaped to Germany? Did you try and abuse an American child and then go to Germany? Is that what you tried to do, Nima? Was it a white American girl you tried to abuse and then go to Germany? Answer the question. What was the girl? What was the race of the child?
Am I gonna get? Are we gonna go back to respecting each other? And I can
No,
talk
there's
and
no
you
respect. There's no respect.
The gloves are off right now, kind of. I can moderate more strict if you guys want, but
I want one word from you. What was the girl?
My wife. First of all, unlike
What race
you,
was the girl? Answer the question.
unlike you, I don't look down on the Europeans. My wife is European.
Oh, but you wanted to groom a child, you pedo.
I don't look at my wife.
You
Actually,
wanted to
unlike
groom a child, pedo. You clearly do. Is it Jewish supremacy? Is it the fact that you think it's a Gentile? We kill her afterwards based on the Talmud because she doesn't have a soul. That you want to compare her to a beast? Is that what you did? You dirty.
You should be pretty careful, man. You're definitely engaging in slander at this point. And there's no, and I've never done anything like this. In fact, my wife.
No, you did. You did. You slandered me,
my daughter's half.
You slandered me, and I returned the favor. Don't cry. We either could have done this academically or done it in the insults. And you've been insulted. You lied that I'm a Pakistani ISA agent, which is slander and defamation. You've lied about me supporting grooming gangs, which is a lie, defamation. So you've lied and defamed a significant amount. I've stated facts. If you want to start complaining and crying and start going down that road,
you don't work for ISI. You don't work for ISI, Pakistani intelligence.
No, I don't work for ISI. So you want to
Sulaiman, answer the question. Do you work for ISI intelligence or not?
No, I do not. But are you a groomer?
You have never taken a payment from ISI intelligence.
What race was the child? Answer the question. What race was the child? Was she American? What nationality and race? Was she American? Was she German? Did you for that reason? You and Alexandrovich escaped together? Did you help him? What is going on?
Okay, so can we let's get
we knew. I thought the debate was you messaged me before the debate and said you want to do it in a respectful manner.
You know a little bit more professional.
Sulaiman, stop acting like a terrorist. Sulaiman, stop acting like a
Jewish extremist who basically thinks it's okay to rip non-Jews. So you can do this academically, or you can do it in an insulting manner. I can do both. This is the thing you don't realize. Like, I'm chill. I can be academic. You saw me. And as soon as you start the insults, I'll return the favor. So it depends on how you want to proceed. You can either act in an academic manner, or you can act in an insulting manner. Whichever you choose, I will emulate your behavior. And I know you're known for this. You're known to be like a kind of retarded person who basically insults. But I thought, because we know you met each other before, that this time you might act differently. But Nima is Nima. He doesn't change. He's known that you're basically just prove who.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to the facts. Let's go back. So what I suggest, what I suggest is stop acting like a terrorist.
You want to do academic? You want to do insults? What do you want to do?
I say we do a truce and we go back to having a polite gentleman conversation.
Let's do it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I just want to start off here by saying you made a comment. You made a comment about Jews getting kicked out of 109 countries. And I would just, you want to talk about academics. I'd like to talk about academics. It's funny you say academics, because first of all, that number is meaningless. And you know that. The modern countries, as we understand them, they didn't exist for most of Jewish history. And you know that. And you literally know that. You had medieval kingdoms. You had city-states. You had principalities. You had papal territories. You had changed names, right? And the borders were constantly getting disrupted. So counting every local ban, temporary expulsion, or forced conversion, and calling them countries is dishonest. Second, the context is important. And that's a fact. The context is important. So did Jews suffer expulsions? Yes. Did they suffer massacres? Yes. Was there forced conversions and discrimination across Europe? Yes. And also elsewhere. There were notable expulsions. You know that. So, for example, England, France, Spain, Portugal in the 1400s, right? Spain in the 1400s, and many German places, right? Italian city-states. But to say that it was 109 is dishonest, and you know that. That's Soviet propaganda. And it's basically like a rhetorical weapon that you use, and you're known for this. And you're listing something that's invented. It's an invented tally. And you're basically making his history into this Soviet propaganda that you're fooling Gen Z with. And history is just not this like scoreboard that you're trying to make it. Jews also found refuge in Ottoman Empire, right? You know that. and they assimilated, they returned, and they continued living in those lands also. And you know that. So the fact of the matter is that 109 is false. It's a false number, and it's Soviet propaganda that you're engaging in. And yes, I'm not going to, and just to keep it academic, I'm not accusing you of being into ISI.
The guy can't control himself. Can't
But
control
that is,
himself.
that is like propaganda.
He can't control himself. This Jew just can't control himself. See what I mean?
Yo, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I gotta go take a
single-
pee. Guys, I'll be back in like a minute. I gotta pee really bad. Yeah, I'll be
Go
back.
ahead, Solomon. You got the floor. The floor is yours. Solomon, the floor is yours. I can't hear you, man. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
The guy can't control himself. The guy can't. Those countries don't have the same type of borders. Not all. Some of them do, because he admitted they're thrown out of Spain. They were thrown out of Germany. They were thrown out of the United Kingdom. They were thrown out of Holland. They were thrown out of these countries that existed before and exist now. But his claim for the countries is the borders changed. That means it's not really an expulsion, bro. That is crazy. That's still an expulsion. So you did get expelled. Now, what you're saying is the reason they got expelled is what he said is Jews' fault. It's always the Europeans' fault. They did a propaganda against them. They oppressed them. They massacred them. So once again, they blame the white guy. They blame the Europeans. They're always the victims. Every single time. Oy vey, we are victims. But you're not always victims. For example, I look at the expulsions and think, look, some of them I understand from the Jewish perspective. Some of it I understand it from the Europe. Some were probably legitimate. Some probably weren't legitimate. You understand it from a nuanced perspective. But once again, you're demonstrating putting supremacy before anything else. You don't need to put your people first, give a nuanced answer. But once again, it's the white man who's evil, white man who's the bad guy, it's the white man who's the oppressor, it's the white man who does evil actions. And I say, Nima, look, I know they, but still, show them a bit of respect, right? Show them a bit of respect.
Yeah. You know, the thing is that, so when you're saying this, so I'm sorry, man, but like 10 countries, 20 countries does not equal 109. And the fact that you're not acknowledging that that was Soviet propaganda is dishonest. It is dishonest. And I think anyone can literally go on Google and look up the fact that 109 countries is disinformation. You can literally go on Google. I encourage everyone to go and fact check this liar. And I say that respectfully. I'm not just saying you are lying. You are lying. You are lying. You are objectively lying. And anyone can go on Google and fact check that, because in America we have freedom of speech. And anyone can go on Google and fact check, was that disinformation and was the source of that Soviet propaganda or not?
Okay, so his argument is Google, and I was like, just Google it. Google it 109 times. Look at over 1,000 expulsions. It's 109 countries, but it's over 1,000 expulsions. But Google it. That's what I agree with you, Nima. Let's Google it. Let's let the people get educated. But my audience is educated doing it anyway. They know about it. But maybe for your audience, it might be a bit of a bombshell.
Yeah, because you're saying stuff like Jews run the banks, right? But if who's the CEO of J.P. Morgan? Jamie Dimon. He's not a Jew, is he? Who's the CEO of Bank of America? Brian Moynihan. He's a Catholic. Who's the CEO? Who's the CEO of Deutsche Bank? Christian Swing. He's a Lutheran. Who's the CEO of the Fed Reserve? Who's the chairman of the Fed Reserve? Jerome Powell. He's a Catholic.
Okay, so who owns? Yeah, I'll answer that. So who owns most of the shares in these countries? In these companies, sorry.
How about the fact? Who? It's made up of a corporate. Well, the way it works in the United States is these are public companies and there's shareholders, and they're made up of all sorts.
So who are the majority shareholders?
They're all sorts of people.
So for example, okay, let me educate you. So Oracle, for example, is a public company. Do you agree?
So who's the chairman of the ECB?
The what? No, I'm not talking about the chairman. I'm talking about
the hold on. No, but let's talk about the European Central Bank. Who's the chairman? Christian Lagarde. She's a Catholic. From where is she from? Do you know? Have you studied a little bit?
Yeah, I'll explain to you. So let me tell you on how it works, right? This is
You don't
how
like to talk
the
about
Jews do
that,
it.
though, right? You don't like to talk about the chairman of the Federal Reserve.
I'm going to answer it, and you guys will be behind the Federal Reserve. But the CEOs of these countries are puppets that are put in those positions. But the largest influential shareholders of these countries are always Jewish Zionists, and they do it through shell companies, through main companies. So if you look at many of these countries, there's always BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and all of these are basically Jewish, majority of Jewish CEOs. And so what happens is there's like a structure or infrastructure they've created where it's always their people who are involved. So, for example, I was looking at the housing in New York, because I know you want to talk about Mamdani later as well. But the housing in New York, you look at it, the companies that hold the biggest housing are all Jewish Zionist companies. It goes back to State Street and Vanguard. And so this is the issue you have, that you guys have made sure that infrastructurally in these companies is largely Jewish Zionist control. For example, Oracle, you could say the CEO of Oracle isn't Jewish. CEO of Oracle, I think maybe, but I can't remember. But if you look at the major shareholders, it's what? Larry Ellison, BlackRock, Vanguard. And so this is how they control things. And it's not just based on finances. It's based on, for example, a politician will know. It's not just APAC money. It's just not Mariam Edelson money. A politician will know that if they are supporting Israel, they will have a pathway in their future to become a congressman, a senator, possibly the president of the United States of America. And so it becomes a career path in order to make sure he gets to the place, because the media is controlled by them, the infrastructure is controlled by them, the finances are controlled by them, and they control everything. So it's an infrastructure perspective. My issue with this is are Muslims and there are Christians who are in those positions. You're right. They are. Not, but the difference is, as you mentioned, Shabana Mahmood quite correctly, who I consider a fraud. And we agree with that. We agree she's a fraud, right? You agree she's a fraud, right? Shabana Mahmood. And so problem is that when Muslims...
I can respect that as a Pakistani who has involvement perhaps with grooming gangs in the UK, that you can at least say Shabana Mahmood is a fraud. I respect that about you. I think that's respectable. And just for the record, hold on. Just for the record, I'll also say to you, and just for the record, I'll also say to you that Jewish guy that was caught in Nevada was wrong.
You groomed an American child. You fraud.
That was wrong. No, that was wrong.
Groomed and then what you did was you escaped
that was wrong.
to Germany. You were wrong.
That was wrong. No, I'm telling you, that was wrong with that. With that Israeli guy did.
What that Israeli guy did was wrong. Now he's admitting that he's wrong. So that is good. Nima is confessing to his crimes. He'll be put through court. No, he won't, because he's escaped to Germany. I don't know about this poor old woman. See, once again, Nima, you can't do an academic. I thought we were going to do an academic debate, but you call me a groomer.
Let's go
and the only groomer in this conversation is you.
Let's go back to academic. Let's go back to academic, because you're acting like a terrorist. Okay, let's just go back to academic. Finish what you were going to say.
A guy who believes in American children and then run into Germany.
Okay, so let's go back to some of your claims. I want to go back to some of your claims now, because you made some serious allegations. Number one, you said that these companies, for example, I worked in finance. I spent about 15 years in New York. So you talked about BlackRock, you talked about Vanguard, you talked about. Can we have a logical conversation? Come on, man, because there's people actually listening.
But let me be clear. If you disrespect again, I'm literally going to continue insulting, and I won't stop. You can either do it academic or we can do it.
Let's try to keep it civil between the both of you guys. All right.
Well, you can't be pretending it's academic and then insulting, because then it's just going to go down that road.
Yeah, let's keep the ad hominems to a minimum, so no personal insults.
Okay, we'll do it.
That's fine.
Sulaiman,
this is the problem.
Sulaiman,
you do a ceasefire with it, and they're breaking it every single time. This is like Israel. The poor Palestinians are like, okay, the Jew country says they want a ceasefire. I'm like, yes, bro, let's keep it academic. They break the ceasefire every single time. These
guys
like
terrorist, bro. You're acting like an This is why the British want to deport you. This is why the British want to deport you.
Tyson, you can be Trump. Tyson, you can be Trump. Get the Israelis to fulfill the ceasefire. Can you get these Israelis to fulfill the ceasefire?
If the British people were looking, you lack such self-awareness that you don't see why the British want to deport you.
Every
You're
single
lacking
time.
the self-awareness, bro.
Why,
You're
man?
lacking
Why, man?
self-awareness.
Break the ceasefire every single time.
Okay,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
go. Okay, I say cease. Sullivan, let's do 10 more minutes because we've
Let's
got
talk about
about 3
Mamdani a
hours.
little. Let's talk about Zoran Mamdani. I think you guys both want to talk about that, right?
Yeah, okay, we're talking about New York. So Sullivan, I say for the next 10 minutes, Sullivan, we've gone about 3 hours. I've enjoyed this conversation with you. Sullivan, I've enjoyed this conversation with you. It's been about 3 hours. I just want to say for the next 10 minutes, let's do a ceasefire. Okay, and let's try to finish this on a good note. All right?
Yeah. But
All
just question, Nima. Do you want to do? You want to? You want Mamdani? I don't know what your position is on it. Do you want to speak about him or you don't?
Yeah, I do. I just want to say one thing though about I think the audience because you could let's talk about New York. Let's talk about New York. So I actually worked in private equity. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit about what you said. And I think maybe there's a misunderstanding. I'm going to assume you're not lying. I'm going to assume there's a misunderstanding. Okay, I'm going to assume the best of you. Okay, so you talked about BlackRock. You talked about Vanguard. You talked about State Street. These are actually not Jewish firms. They're just not Jewish firms. They're literally publicly traded asset management corporations. They have millions of investors all over the world, which include the way that works is they have pension funds. They have like university endowments, right? They got governments. Okay. They got literally, they got ordinary people. Like think about the middle class people. They have 401ks. Okay. Here in the United States. And there's no single ethnicity or religion that controls all of it. They're literally run by boards. And those boards are constantly switching seats. And the other thing about New York you were talking about, in New York housing, because I worked in a New York property market, the large property owners actually include banks, bro. They're banks, the private equity funds, the investment trusts. And they also have shareholders from every background. Like the Qataris invest. The Qataris, man. So when you say it's just the Zionist, because one executive or two executive happen to be maybe an Israeli, that you're like literally engaging in collective blame. And that's just prejudice, man. And it's wrong. And I think you should, and I think you're better than that. And the other thing I want to say is that this pattern of like this myth you say of like the 1800s, the Rothschilds owned Europe. Okay. And now in the 1930s, the Jews controlled Germany. Then today it's Vanguard and the BlackRock are Jewish. So basically you're just saying, okay, we're going to switch the names, but it's basically the same sort of propaganda. You're taking these complex economics and you're replacing it with a villain like me. And you're just giving me this stereotype. And the actual power in the global markets for people who don't understand finance and economics, it's these capital flows, man. There's regulation. There's regulatory bodies. It's not my ancestry. And you got these major investors, which include Saudi sovereign wealth funds, man, Norwegian wealth funds, the Chinese pension funds. That's how macroeconomics is, man. You got American retirement systems. So calling all of that Jewish control is giving us way too much credit, man. We actually don't have that much control. And if anyone fact checks me, you can look, the markets are vast. Okay. The Qataris have a lot of money. They're buying up London. They have more property in London than the royal family. I think you know that. We don't have as much, Israel does not have as much money as the Qataris or the Chinese Communist Party. So this notion that one tiny group of Jews who love the West, who love the United States, who look at the United States like a big brother, they're our big brother, and we love the United States, and we are democracy, and we have shared values, and we just want to have a little country, man. I think there's like 55 countries with these Arabs and Pakistan. Like, why can't we just have one piece of land, man? Why is it so much for you? Like, why is it so much that you want to have these terrorists and the Pakistanis conquer London? Like, why can't you just leave the Jews alone? I don't know why you have so much hatred and jealousy, man. I really don't know, because I don't think about you as much as you think about us. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, so guy couldn't control his ceasefire. Like Israelis, every single time.
No, that was a ceasefire. No, that was a ceasefire. No, come on. I didn't call you insult. I didn't insult you. I didn't insult you. No, I didn't insult you. I did not insult you. I did
You
not
did.
insult you.
You mentioned Pakistanis are not relevant to me. Pakistanis, you mentioned Pakistanis, and it's
But
not
I
relevant.
didn't insult. I didn't insult. You called me a Jew. It's okay. Bro, you called me a Jew. It's okay. No, bro. I did not ceasefire. You call me a Jew if you want, but I didn't insult.
The bomb down. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. It was the Hamas. We bomb children in Gaza to break the ceasefire every single day. But we didn't break the ceasefire. These Jews every single time. Is there one that doesn't follow the same script? God, I don't know, bro.
Please come back to what I said. Please, okay. At least. But you're not calling me a liar. You're not calling me a liar or what I just said.
You are a liar. I'm going to prove it. So why can't you have a piece of Nima? This is what you don't understand.
No, talk about the economics. No, hold on. Stop switching subjects. Talk about the right. No, stop switching subjects, bro.
I'm going to talk about control yourself. Control your behavior. Don't start the time. I'm going to talk about this point. I've got all your points written down. I'm going to talk about them. I'm talking about all 5 of them.
I know you do. You got a research team. They're helping you. Okay.
No, it's not. I just literally write down what look. It's literally me in pen. That's it.
Okay, I respect that.
Just because I'm getting old. Sometimes and your rule is never miss one point. Like smash every point. Expose every propaganda. Like I don't like to miss one point. So, Nima, control yourself, bro. Control yourself. Premises, they don't believe in ceasefire. So listen, they bomb Gaza and they're like, oh, we got ceasefire. Oh, there. So look, why can't you have a piece of? Listen, I don't believe that any religion, Jew, Muslim, or Christian, should have a piece of land. I don't think someone inherently should have a piece of land. That being said, if they want a piece of land because they believe they're superior and they should have it, no problem. But the land shouldn't be based on stealing somebody else's land, occupying and oppressing someone. If they weren't doing any of those things, I don't mind. Like, why would I care that they basically have their own land? It's no problem whatsoever. My rule is always harm, oppress, and take advantage of people. I don't care what race or religion you are. If you're a Jew, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, white, blue, brown, or a mix of whatever you are, it doesn't matter. Everyone should have the same values. That's where I disagree. Now, in terms of your argument about these, so this is the game that these Jews play. Because in reality, what they've done is they've created all of these corporations and they've created within these corporations. So if you look at BlackRock, right, you'll be able to see who's the major shareholders. It's Val State Street. But they won't be able to look at who within those are the major shareholders. And say Vanguard, some of these are private, and they'll be you look at them and the private ones are. And so they've created shell companies and automated situations where they're able to. But what you do look at is the mechanism they use. So, for example, you look at BlackRock, it's Vanguard, State Street, who are basically the major shareholders. You look at the State Street, it's Vanguard, BlackRock, who are the major shareholders. And then you look at Vanguard and BlackRock, who are the major shareholders. And so that's how they do it. In addition to that, before you derail the conversation, I was going to cover it earlier, what Jews do is, when they're in positions of power, they put people first. Someone like Sulaiman Ahmed, who's a fraud, who did the pro-Palestinian movement, but then as soon as she got elected as Home Office, betrayed the pro-Palestinian movement and made it illegal, and then attacked Muslims in the same way that he's doing, that's how she betrays. But for example, someone like Nima demonstrated in this debate, if he was to be put in a position of power, so Sulaiman Ahmed is put in a position of power, and Nima is put in a position of power, Nima will put Jews first. He will put his people, he will make sure that his corporations act in the Israeli interest. Sulaiman Ahmed might have the same percentage, but she won't care. She won't vote in that way. And that's what makes Jews unique, that you can have other people in those positions of power, but for Jews, it's their people and their ideology. So there's that extra ideological issue, that extra element that nobody else has. Qatar, as an example, I'm glad you brought up Qatar. Qatar got bombed by Israel. Bombed Israel. What did they do? They did nothing. Nothing. Why did they do nothing? They didn't have no self-respect. Because they worshipped the United States of America. Trump told them, do not do anything. And they said, yes, sir. We will not do anything. Qatar demonstrated the extreme weakness. And so, in reality, once again, it shows when Israel is in the same position as Qatar, when Israel feels like it's attacked, it won't care what anyone says. America, the ICC, the ICJ, European countries, human beings, they won't care. Qatar says, don't do anything. They say, yes, sir. And that's the difference. difference. When Jews are in positions of power, always put their people first. And you see it through the media, the lies of the 40 beheaded babies. What happened? It went from Israeli media to US media. How did it to US media to be the Business Insider? It was two Jews, a Jewish American, not Israeli, and a Jewish, not an Israeli. Both of them brought it from Israeli media to American media. And both of them were reporters. Now you'll be like, oh, the only reporters, there's millions of reporters, blah, blah. But the biggest lies in history that caused world events, it was always the people behind it, and they always put their country first. So there's the financial aspect, but you need to link it to the ideological aspect. That's the main part of it. The CCP. I'm with you on this. I don't disagree with you. Fused. I'm anti-CCP. I don't want CCP to take control. I think the problem when it comes to CCP and the infiltration, I already mentioned Mark Zuckerberg, and I already mentioned Larry Ellison, who are some married to Chinese women. Both of them Jews, but married to Chinese women. Massively controlling social media, or pushing in the Israeli direction. So now my question is, why these CCP agents who are married to these billionaires pushing Zionist Israeli propaganda? That's a question mark. I have evidence for it, but it's a real question. Why is it? And there's Chinese infiltration. For example, the Murdochs. This is well known in the 1980s. A Jew, Murdoch, who's another Zionist. Some say he's not. We don't know if he's a Jew or not. He kind of, but he's definitely supported, financed Israel and the West Bank sentiments. Even there was a Chinese infiltration in terms of him. I believe he was married, or someone linked to him was married to a Chinese person. So I'm with you on Chinese infiltration. I think it's a major problem. I think I'm supporting Trump on the tariffs. I'm vehemently against any kind of Chinese infiltration. I'm Western society first. I'm paying that Western society is being destroyed by basically Israelis and Zionists.
Okay, so I just want to say first off here, when you talk about Larry Ellison has helped contribute to the competitive edge that the United States has with Oracle. Oracle's actually created a ton of jobs. And Larry Ellison is a fantastic example of a Jewish businessman who came to the United States, created a ton of jobs, and he has fantastic leadership. And he's helped the United States have cutting edge technology, and he's helped other countries fight against the terrorism, like the terrorism when Pakistan hid Osama bin Laden, who did 9/11. And I think it's sad how you are discrediting the achievements of Larry Ellison and all the great things he's done as an American patriot, a patriot of the United States who loves the United States. So when you talk about, I thought we were going to keep this professional. When you talk about Israel, finance and power, you're just keep saying these like Soviet propaganda, and it sounds pretty deep to people who don't understand what's going on, who don't actually know history. And you're very smart. You know that you can manipulate these Westerners, but you forget that my family comes from Iran and Jerusalem. I understand what you're doing. I understand what you're doing. And I don't blame you for doing it. I actually don't blame you for doing it because it's working. It's working clearly. You're winning popular support. You have the woke liberals that support you. And unfortunately, the Jews, man, have lived in, Israel continuously for 3 millennia. And I know that's not what you want to hear. And the word Judea, the root of the word is Jew, which you like to call me. Nick Fuentes likes to call me a Jew, just like you like to call me a Jew. And I know you do it in a derogatory way, like Nick Fuentes does. And when you look at archaeology, you look at language, you look at scripture, all that anchor is Jewish identity. And Jewish identity was there long before Islam or Christianity. And I say that with respect to my Christian and my Muslim friends. It was. And I think we all know that and we all acknowledge that. I think that's something we have a Christian, Jewish person and a Muslim here. We can all acknowledge that the Jewish came earlier than the Christian, and then after the Christian came Islam. That's nothing disrespectful. It's just a fact, right?
I don't agree.
So
I don't agree. I think Judaism was
okay. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. So hold on. So in 1947, right? See, I'm not going to insult you and say you don't know anything. That's fucked up that you do that to me, but I'm not going to do that to you. And I actually give you credit that you're very smart. I actually don't underestimate you. I think you're a professional. I think you're sophisticated. I think you've studied. I don't think you're just, I don't discredit you and say you're just studying a script. Like we just make up scripts. No, I actually think you're doing a good job. I don't think you have a ISI giving you research. I think you know. I think you're studying. Yeah, you may look at a computer to look some things up. That's okay. But I think you still know what you're doing. I think even if we had no computer near us, you would know what you're doing, and we would still have a good conversation. We've talked for over 3 hours. So I want to just finish my point here, and that's that the UN, which I think is disgusting. I hope the UN is defunded from the United States. It's basically controlled by Chinese Communist Party, as you know. And and you saw how much at the United Nations they disgraced India. I mean, I know you probably, and I say this in a respectful way, you probably liked it when Pakistan was insulting India in the United Nations, but I thought it was disgraceful. I thought it was dishonest, and I thought it was disgusting and vulgar how the Pakistani leader behaved like a child in the United Nations. It was disrespectful to India, and India deserved way more respect in the United Nations, and you know that, and you know they were slandered, and a lot of the Pakistanis slandered the Israelis the same way you had the Pakistanis hold bin Laden and then lie and act like they're our friend who did 9/11. Now, in 1948, for many of you who don't know, there were 5 Arab states, right? They had armies, and then what did they do? They invaded Israel, which was a newborn country, right? And what happened? Israel survived. And then what happened? The borders were like redefined, right? So then after 1967, right, when Jordan and Egypt attacked, you know this, Sullivan. You know this. See, I don't insult you and say you don't know this. I say you know this. Jordan and Egypt attacked, and you know that. You remember that. And then guess what happened? Every inch of territory, right, has been fought over more than it's been, like praised. Right. And what happened after that? What happened after that? Israel just kept expanding. Israel kept winning. And Israel's won every war like a champion. Israel's a championship fighter. Israel's military has a ton of prestige. When you say to IDF, you talk about an elite brand. You talk about a prestigious brand. You talk about the most high morale military in the world that goes out of its way to not harm children. And then one last point, when you talk about the modern, it's not like the Hamas terrorist freaks who go and they behead children and rape elderly women. But when you look at the modern corporate ownership, okay, it's not a cabal. It's just not, man. There's more to it. So when you see BlackRock, I want to emphasize this once more. When you see Vanguard, when you see State Street, and it's listed everywhere, okay, that's because, let me explain to people who don't understand economics and finance, okay? That's because you have something called index funds. And those index funds automatically buy small slices of like every major company for pension funds and 401ks, which help people here in the United States, right? So they don't actually control the firms, man. That's just not how it works. And they mirror the market. And about 99% of those shares here in our markets are literally held by like middle-class, working-class workers. And that includes Christians like Tyson. That includes a Muslim like you.
I'm not sure if I'd say I'm a
That
Christian.
includes a Hindu, that includes an atheist, and that includes a Jewish person. And it's just not some secret boardroom tribe. And one last point, Tyson, one last point. I just want to emphasize, I am Jewish. My mother's Jewish. But my Jewish grandmother married an Iranian Muslim whose middle name was Muhammad. And I have respect for your faith. As much as you disrespect me, I'm not going to disrespect all Muslims because I think most Muslims are disgusted with Hamas. And I commend the Muslims in the UAE who banned the Muslim Brotherhood. I wish you would condemn the Muslim Brotherhood. Frankly, I don't know if you will, but I wish you would. And I wish you would condemn Hamas. I don't know if you will. Do you condemn Hamas and Muslim Brotherhood as a Pakistani in England?
Okay, that was a good 5-6 minutes. I don't mind it, but as long as I get the same amount of time, because that was a lot of points.
Of course.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that was my last point, man. You take it from there.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
You got the last word. I give you the respect to give you the last word.
Oh, you don't want to do Mamdani after this?
Okay, fine. We'll do. Yeah, we're having so much fun. All right, we'll do Mamdani.
It was your topic. I just don't want you to feel like, because you are a Jewish guy. So I don't want you to feel like, you didn't get what you wanted because some people might get killed. You know what I mean? Jokes. Okay, so
look at you breaking the ceasefire, man. I'm being polite.
That was a joke.
Well, I see we got the second biggest. I want to just say also thank you to everybody that's been listening, man. We've been over 3 hours. We're like literally, from what I see on X, we're the #2 biggest stream right now. So that's
really,
pretty
where did it say that?
I just took a picture of it. I'll put it on my IG story so everyone can see. But what I see, Tyson Hockley, we're under Amuse. Amuse has the biggest one. We have the number 2 biggest one.
Okay, 3.1 thousand on my Twitter.
Probably,
okay.
That's probably Israeli bots, but anyway.
What? No, no, my stream.
No. He's talking about his next
Maybe the Israeli bots are working with the Pakistani bots. It's a win-win for both of us, you know?
Yeah, but my stream's gone down. I've only got 300 people in here. I normally get 1,2,000, but there's Zaire attack on my party, so we got 0 on here.
No, but you didn't retweet it. Solomon, you didn't retweet it. You can retweet it right now for people to join.
For the X.
Yeah, you didn't retweet it, man. I retweeted it. You got to retweet it, bro.
Like my stream?
Yeah, you didn't retweet it. It's not on your Solomon. It's not on your page. If you retweet it, people will see it.
All right, I can send it to you if you want. Yeah, I can send it to the group chat if you guys want.
Yeah, add it.
You don't have to retweet it, but if you want to, I'll send it.
Yeah, I think it would have been better for me to do an act all these problems to care, but it is. And then we would definitely be the biggest. Now, and it would have been.
Hold on, do you see it? Hold on, Solomon, do you see it?
It would have been
Solomon,
legit.
do you see it?
Let me see.
What's up?
Yeah, I'll see it.
So are we just gonna do like Mom Dami and then wrap it up? Because I'm not gonna lie, I do gotta like do stuff after because we have been here for a while.
Yeah, let me respond to this guy. We could do Mom Dani or not. I'm chill. So
Let's try to wrap it up.
Solomon, did you add it? Solomon, did you add it?
Yeah, I retweeted it. If I retweeted at the beginning, it would have probably got a huge number of views. And it would have been legit. It would have been legit as well, unlike these Israeli bots. So now, coming back to it, Oracle, right?
See, you broke the ceasefire. You broke the ceasefire. It's like an ISI Pakistani agent.
It's a joke, bro.
All right, good. All right, go ahead.
I didn't know you were so sensitive, bro. I thought you were like Alpha. What was it? Alpha Kings. Alpha.
Yeah, but come on, bro. Like the ice. Why, bro? Why does ISI have to play so dirty? Come on, bro. Come on.
What's your brand? What's your brand? Alpha Warrior or something? What was it?
ISI, bro.
No,
ISI. My brand is ISI Nima.
Oh, is it ISI? You know what I mean, bro? It's ISI, bro. I told you can't trust the Pakistanis. They're bloody working with the Israelis. This is the issue. Yeah. This is why I never trust Pakistan.
Can I get a job at ISI in Karachi? Can you give me a job? I'd love to work with you guys, man. I hear you guys pay pretty good. Do you pay better than Israel?
I think they would give you a job because they're pro-Israel. So this is the problem I've got with them. They're bitches.
Yeah, I should be on your team, Solomon, because I hear Qatar pays very good.
I'm not on their team, but they're on your team. That's the problem. Yeah. Like they shouldn't be on your team. They shouldn't betray society. They shouldn't be on America and Israel's team.
Who's on Israel's team? Pakistan.
Yeah. Betrayers. They need to be more like India. Like India has propped up the Russian economy financially. They are giving oil to Russia. They've helped Russia survive through all of this. India is demonstrating the way you should. I actually respect India's economic policy because they basically said to America, you can't control us. We're going to be an autonomous nation. We're going to trade with Russia. We're going to trade with China. And India has actually leveraged yourself in a really good position in that regard. They put themselves right in the middle. Pakistan are pussies. They're basically American Israel's bitch. So I'm with you on that. Like, I don't agree. So they'll probably give you a job in it, but the only thing is, I don't know, the pay won't be as good as what's $7,000? Maybe get 7,000 rupees. Right. Okay. So let me go into this point. Oracle. Oh my God, this is hilarious. My man's trying to put Larry Ellison as some kind of patriot. Please tell me when Larry Ellison funded the US Army. Never, ever. But he funded the Friends of the IDF. He funded the Israelis. Tell me when Larry Ellison supported pro-Christian initiatives. Never, ever. He supported Zionist and Islamophobia and hatred against Muslims. This is what they do. Larry Ellison through the Larry Ellison Foundation. Larry Ellison through funding of the David Horowitz Foundation, who also is buying. Not Larry Ellison. Yeah. Who is buying TikTok. Funded all of that. So no, I don't agree with Larry Ellison. I think he's a harm to society. He funds the IDF and jobs. Bruv, look at Larry Ellison's Oracle. Look at it, bruv. Another one who loves his H1Bs. He literally has only the vast majority of the jobs that he created with Oracle are not in the United States of America. This guy does H1B, but externally. So again, he's not America first. He brings more jobs externally from outside of America than he does the United States of America. In terms of 9/11, Nima. You're 2 years behind, bruv. Everyone already knows Israel did 9/11. It's been proven that the hijackers were linked to Mossad. It's been proven that one of the hijackers, as an example, had family who was in Mossad. So they were Israeli assets. Israel, Saudi Arabia, America worked together to do 9/11 and kill 3,000 Americans. But as Israeli said, that what happened on October the 7th is worth thousands of 9/11s, because a Jewish life is worth more than an American life. You also said that the woke liberals are on my side. Guess what, Nima? Wake up to the world, because actually everyone's turned on the Zionists. Not just the left wing, the right wing have woken up significantly. You mentioned a friend of mine, Nick Fuentes, is one example with a huge following who has exposed the Israelis. Candace Owens being another one. Tucker Carlson being another one. I would say they are the juggernauts of the right wing. I don't even know who the right wing have anymore. So everyone has turned on Israel. It's not just woke liberals. Everyone's woken up. It's an awakening, the great awakening. Eyes have been left behind. You also made the fallacy that Israel has been there, or sorry, Jews have been in Israel, or the land which is claimed to be Israel, for 3,000 years. Nima, I do advise you to look this up. For the Jews were actually expelled from Jerusalem around 70 CE after Christ. So it means that the Jews, even according to their own holy texts, which I don't accept, but according to their holy text, they have been in the land for about 1,500 years. They've been expelled for almost 2,000 years. It means they've been at land more time than they've been in the land. How is it your land if you've not even spent more time in the land than you've been outside? Never mind from the start of humanity, because then it's just a minutia of time. But if we talk about it from their time, even then they've been more time outside than they have been inside. You also mentioned that, what you call it again? What was the other point?
Hold on. Can I just jump in real quick on the Larry Ellison?
No, let me finish my point. So the other one you mentioned about Hamas. You said that Hamas beheaded. Fake news. They didn't behead no children. No children were beheaded. You Zionists beheaded children, though. A lot of children, Palestinian children, were beheaded. But you guys don't see Palestinian life equal to Israeli Jewish life. This is the difference between us. You also said women were raped. This is a lie, Nima. Please, my friend, do not espouse this propaganda. You are not going to succeed, because in reality, no women were raped on October the 7th, and nobody was raped by Hamas. In reality, the one woman that was raped from October the 7th was raped by an Israeli instructor. I did not hear you condemn them. I've never heard you condemn any Israeli action, any Jewish action. And this is a problem, because people are seeing it, Nima. People are seeing how you are putting your people first above all other human beings. And it's not good. It's not a great look. Now, also, you mentioned that would I condemn Hamas and would I condemn the Muslim Brotherhood? So I don't agree with the Muslim Brotherhood. If you look at my articles, I've disagreed with them in terms of from a religious perspective for a very long time. I disagree with any form of, like, even Salafism, Wahhabism. I disagree with all of that, the positions. That being said, when you say, do you condemn Hamas? I say, for what? What do you want me to condemn them for? They didn't do any rape. They didn't kill any children. Babies. They didn't, when it comes to going to Israel on October the 7th, Israel killed the vast majority of their people. They could have got the hostages back on October the 9th, but you don't care about the hostages. You wanted to use them to murder more Palestinians. They went in there and Israel killed the vast majority of people. Now, is there a situation on October the 7th when Hamas intentionally an Israeli citizen? So I've seen the videos. There is a possibility that 3 of the videos could be the case. 3 of the videos, individual, possibly. Because we don't know what happened before. We don't know what happened after. It's out of context. But just taking those out of context videos into account, there does look like a possibility that those 3 people should be charged. But do I condemn the entirety of Hamas in total? For what, I ask you? Because what can I condemn them for? They went into Israel, a place that had occupied them, in order to... You also mentioned 48, 67, 73. So 48, what happened was the Palestinians and the Jewish people, the Arabs and the Jews, fought in the war. The Jews were given military positions, and therefore they were competent from a military perspective. They accepted lower positions and therefore they weren't militarily trained. And so what you saw was the Israelis oppress the Palestinians for a very long time, which culminated in the 1948 war. In the 1967 war, you guys manipulated the situation, and Nasser, the leader of Egypt, who literally only had the strong army, Jordan was very weak, was fighting a war in Yemen. He was fighting a war in Yemen. He had half of his army there. He was never attempting to fight the Israelis. He rang LBJ and he said, are the Israelis going to attack us? LBJ, because you're Mossad Edu. You guys are the Mossad Edu sleeping with him every single time. But LBJ, who was the Zionist president who was implanted after the JFK, because he was going to register because JFK was going to do nuclear inspection on Dimona. You guys killed him, put LBJ in. LBJ then lied to Nasser and said Israelis are not going to attack. He had half his army in Yemen, and then he raided. Because once again, just like Iran, when they trusted Donald Trump, when he said that the negotiations on Sunday, nothing's going to happen, and then on Friday you guys attacked. That's the same thing happened. And in the 1973 war, you guys were about to be wiped out after 2 days. And then you got US aid, US military support in. So your country has been propped up by the United States of America for a very long time. And Israel-Iran war, 2025, you guys were going to be wiped out from the face of the earth if you didn't have American support. You were going to be wiped out from the face of the earth if you didn't have British support, if you didn't have European support, and you didn't have the support of the Arab nations, and also Qatar, who helped America with their base to bomb Iran. So in reality, it's Qatar who's on your side, and you guys had all this support, or you would not exist. And so this argument that might be is right, if you actually follow it through, you guys would not exist. So you've always relied on US support, aid, and I'm not talking about just the aid that you send, because you double dip on that as well. I'm also talking about the military support, which is actually the recent war cost them $500 million to $1 billion a day. The US, that's not aid being given. Trump's giving you guys 28 billion separate to replenish. So you guys are a welfare state. You guys are a leech on society, and you guys are basically struggling in terms of all aspects. And the last thing, as I mentioned, and I mentioned it again, you talk about, oh, Muslims own it, Christians own it. This is just propaganda. Yes, I know Muslims own shares, Christians own shares. But Jews, when they own the shares and they own the larger proportion of shares, which are impactful, they use that for their own people. And a good example is this debate guy called out all of these people when he disagreed with them. I conceded whenever someone was wrong. This guy didn't. He supported Israelis, irrespective of their evil. He never condemned anyone. And that's what happens. And that's what the issue is, Nima. So it's a more complex issue, which is not just financial, although financial is really important, but also ideological as well.
All right.
So Tyson, can I go in for like 2 minutes here?
No.
Okay, I know we're having a pretty good in-depth conversation here for people who actually want to deep dive into this subject, and we're going about 3.5 hours. Thank you, Tyson. Thank you, Sulaiman. And thank you, everyone who's been listening. I want to talk about the Larry Ellison, who's an American patriot, who's respected in the United States, who started basically from nothing. And he has created, let's say about 140,000 jobs. That's a fact. About 140,000 jobs.
Where are the jobs?
Yeah, Larry Ellison has helped create jobs for 140,000 Americans, and Oracle pays billions of dollars in taxes every year. Now, you want to talk about the benefits of Oracle? I mean, because you slandered Larry Ellison. You made Larry Ellison, and I understand from a Pakistani standpoint, you hate Oracle. I understand. I get why you would hate them. Because number one, if you look at what they've done for our national capabilities and national security, the Oracle databases run inside nearly every major U.S. agency, right? So we have NASA, we have Department of War. So that means every system. So think about the aircraft, the medical research, even space missions. They're basically relying on that Oracle software that's designed and maintained right here in the United States. I'm in Miami Beach, Florida. Okay. Now, other thing, what Oracle does is innovation. Okay. So Ellison, what he did is he pushed this like open architecture. It's like a computing. Okay. And it's this modern SQL database as a standard. And it helped create this whole industry, all these industries, like in cloud computing, in fintech, and data security. And that is exactly the sort of innovation. And I'm so proud to say, that he's an American patriot, Larry Ellison, and he's helping keep the United States competitive and global. I'm so proud of that. I'm very happy he's on our team and not Chinese communists. And also his philanthropy. The sheer amount of philanthropy Larry Ellison does through the Larry Ellison Foundation. He's donated billions of dollars to medical research, education, and disaster relief. He's also, I think, donated money to you in the UK, and he's funded programs at like USC, Harvard, and then when I was talking about the UK, I think it's something called like the Ellison Institute, where they're like studying cancer and like longevity. And I think if one of us got sick, we would probably appreciate the contributions Larry Ellison is doing. And you might get offended because he's Jewish, but I think we could say collectively, don't we all benefit from his achievements? I mean, I think we do. Now, in regards to the United States, not politics, Ellison basically moved a part of that Oracle's cloud infrastructure to Texas, an American state. And he built those data centers all across here in America. And then what was the benefit of that? He created thousands of jobs, skilled jobs, and he's helping us here in the United States have digital independence. So I think Larry Ellison is a great example of the American dream. And I'm glad he's on our team, not China. I'm sorry if that offends you because he's Jewish, but I'm glad he's an American success story.
He's definitely on your team. He's definitely on your team. I don't disagree with that. He's on your team. But your team isn't the American. He's on the Jewish team. And so let's look at Larry Ellison. So he created 140,000 jobs, but actually the vast majority of those jobs are outside the United States of America.
That's 140,000 American jobs. Now, anyone can fact check and look at how many jobs Oracle's created in the United States, bro. That's public. Tyler, Tyson, can you fact check us?
Yeah, check it. 140,000 jobs.
Yeah, let's let Tyson be the judge. Judge Tyson, could you say how many jobs Oracle's created in the United States?
How many jobs Oracle has created in the United States?
No, just Americans. Just Americans.
How many jobs currently Oracle has in the United States?
How many?
This is the first time I'm getting my PC out against your entire IDF agents who are working with you. Oracle.
Okay, Sullivan, can we agree? I'm either a Jew or I'm not a Jew. I either work for Israel or I don't work for Israel. I either control the world or I don't control the world. I mean, can you just pick which one am I?
58. It's saying 58,000 full-time employees in the United States. Yeah, 58,000 looks like.
Thank you, sir. Bro,
okay, then I was wrong. The
58,000 and it ain't working, my son. The IDF are sending you scripts and it ain't working, my son. Right, let me go to my point where I was going to say before I was interrupted. So, by the way, I've been consistent.
You talked way longer than me. You talked way longer than me.
No way, bro. You talk for England. What are you talking about? So let me be clear. And as I said, bro, they try to do the propaganda and they get exposed. So look, let's be clear on that. Larry Ellison, you're right. He is a patriot, but a patriot to Israel, a patriot to Jews. And I didn't contradict my point. I said you're not an IDF agent. I don't believe you are. I believe you're being given a script. I know there's people working with you reading right now. So there are people who are typing and giving you information right now. That's fine. I'm going against you and the entirety of Israel. Or we could take them on. One on one. Well, it's not one on one. One against.
First you told me I'm too stupid to work, and then you say I work for Israel. Which one is it? I'm either too stupid to work for Israel or I work for Israel. Which one is it?
I'll explain to you. I'm going to explain to you. You're too stupid to work for Israel, but somebody's sending you.
I also work for Israel.
But someone's sending you notes right now. You've got people working and sending you information right now.
What? Wait for a minute. What the fuck? Where? Where? How? How am I fucking talking that fast? Okay, come on, man. Like, bro, like how?
You
like,
bro?
I know you're Pakistani.
Look,
I know.
Listen, I know these Jews like
Sullivan. Sulaiman,
Jews like these tricks.
Sulaiman.
Like every single time there's tricks and there's supremacy.
Sulaiman,
Listen, it's fine. I can take all 20 Jews.
you don't like
all at
Larry
once.
Ellison.
It's all good.
You don't like Larry Ellison. You don't like Larry Ellison because he's giving money and he's building
easy.
AI, cybersecurity, tech. That's why you don't like Ellison. The only reason you don't
They
like
haven't got
Larry
high IQ. They got very low. It's easy to destroy them because Jews be dumb. Like, I think this is just a nepotistic situation where you guys are being promoted positions of power. You're smart. This is why it takes all of you guys to work together to try and debate. And you start, let me go to Larry Ellison, who's
Somebody in the chat. Someone in the chat says, "Turn the camera around Nima. Let's see the teleprompt." Are you willing to do that, just for the people that are curious? You don't have to if you don't want to, but people are asking.
Turn what? It's a laptop.
Oh, okay, so you can't turn it around. Okay.
Yeah, but hold on. You guys want to see what I'm looking at? Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
hold on.
they're curious. Yeah.
Hold
How
on.
do you do that?
This is what I'm looking at. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see. What is this?
Where even are you right now?
I'm in a conference room.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not really seeing much here, but all right. Okay, got it. All right, he's not reading off a teleprompter.
And I'm alone.
Okay.
Now, what are you looking at, Sulaiman? You want to do the full disclosure?
I'll show you on a video. I'll have to record. It's one of those, you know.
By the way, I gotta go in like 10 minutes, guys. I gotta go into like 10 minutes, so I gotta wrap this up. But
You got to put it in the group. I'll put it in the
Sulaiman,
group.
can we see what you're looking at? Can we see what you're looking at?
I'm sending it in the group, but I don't know how to. It's that fixed camera, you know, that fixed one. But I can send.
Okay, so just for the record, just for the record, I gave complete transparency.
I mean, you did. You showed like a little corner of a room. Okay. And
You're sending a picture. You're sending a picture. Who knows where that picture's from? I just did a live video stream. How do we know where that picture's
right now,
from?
it shows your face.
How do we know where that picture's from?
It just shows. It's a picture of you right now.
Why
What are
don't
you
you
talking
show
about?
the camera, bro? Show the camera. Let's see
I
what
don't know
you're
how to
looking
do
at.
it.
Let's see what you're looking
This
at.
camera around. No, but I've got.
Okay,
I've
so
got an attachment.
transparency. Hold on. So double standard. Transparency for me, but not for you.
Bro, I just took a picture. You take a picture of what you got in front of you right now, like I've.
Ooh.
Take a picture of what right now in front of you. I'm in this one picture to Tyson Hockley because I don't know how to put it in the group. Right, you take a picture of you move things. I did it straight away. Go on. Take a picture of.
Okay, so guys,
Nah,
I
he's
just
taking
want to
time moving things.
hold on.
Yeah, moving things. He's deleting things. This guy, bro, exposed. I literally picture. Everyone can look at the recording. I picture immediately, and you can see the timing because the timing's on the top left and the top here, so you can see the timing happening exactly when I took the picture. This guy did show the corner of a room, and now he didn't take a picture. Now he's taking so much time. His boy's moving things around, and now he'll take a picture. Yeah, bro, you got exposed. It is what it is.
Sulaiman, I just want you to.
It's
I
fine.
want to
I
talk,
don't mind.
real quick.
It's very easy for me. So let me go back to Larry
Sulaiman,
Ellison.
we're talking about.
Let's talk about Larry Ellison.
Let's finish with Mamdani, bro. Let's finish with Mamdani.
Okay, cool. You have to tell me your position because I don't know what your position is on it.
Let's make it quick too. Let's make it really quick. All right, Nima, tell me your position on Mondani.
So in terms of Oracle, they are patriots, but they're Israel first. And the reason they've got their infrastructure in NASA, in NSA, in CIA, in FBI, in the AI, that's basically problem right now, in the data centers, which is the future, is because the Israelis, and this is the biggest national security risk there is. So I'm glad Nima mentioned these Israelis have control over the entirety of the intelligence of the United States of America. This is why the US come to other allies because they know Israel will bomb Qatar, right? Or they'll bomb their other allies. They can't trust the Israeli intelligence, as he admitted. They control their future, the data centers through AI. Everybody knows whoever controls the data centers controls the future. And so this is the biggest problem that America has. They have given up their autonomy and their sovereignty to a foreign nation. And this guy has demonstrated that he is Israel first. He is Jewish people first. And that's fine. He can be. Every person is different. We aren't. We built the humanity first. But That is a massive national security. And Larry Ellison having his clause in all of these issues is a major problem. And we know Larry Ellison bought TikTok because Greenblatt, right wing, Greenblatt, there's a generation problem, there's a TikTok problem. We need to take control of TikTok. The war he fought on TikTok, and then he bought TikTok for Israel, for Jewish Zionists. Similarly, he bought CBS News. He took control of it. He put Barry Weiss, an Israeli asset, in charge of the newsroom, even though she gets less views than Nima. Poor old Nima's working hard to try and get accepted. I've got a huge amount of views, and her company, more views than her. She's got more views than I assume. And her company was laundered for $200 million. And why? Because Larry Ellison wanted to put an Israeli asset on CBS News, and they're flopping. So he is a patriot, but to Israel. Okay, let Danny know, and then we can wrap up, because it is going for like nearly 4 hours.
4 hours, yeah. Okay, Nima, start with Mondami. We'll give you the floor to start.
Well, I mean, like, just so we can have some freedom here, just so we can have some fairness, could I get like 1 minute to just respond to what he just said though here?
Yeah, I want a minute.
I mean, sure, but I gotta go in like 10 minutes, so make it quick.
All right, so I'll make it here. So yeah, so I just want to explain, like, because it is safe to say that what you're saying as a Pakistani, you're attacking Larry Ellison, you're attacking Israelis. And at one point, it's like, I could understand why you as a Pakistani person hates Israel and hates Jewish people in the United States, especially if they're inventing like Larry Ellison. So the United States, the United States is running this complex and decentralized intelligence network, right? In human history, one of the most. So there's 18. So this is how it works here in the United States. We have 18 separate agencies, okay? And they report to an American director of national intelligence. That's how it works in Washington. Okay, and they are accountable to Congress, the president, and dozens of oversight committees, right? So Israel is actually our ally. They're not our puppet master, and they share data with allies the same way we do with the UK, Australia, Japan, and Germany. So we have something called joint threat databases, and they're encrypted channels, and there's reciprocal agreements. So there's shared information. It's not control, and it's like a deterrence. And it helps us keep our American soldiers safe from terrorists, the same way in your country in Pakistan they had bin Laden. So this notion that Larry Ellison or Oracle control us through data centers, it's like this mythology you're pushing. It's not this espionage. It's not espionage, man. Those data centers are physical infrastructure, right? And they're built under U.S. law here, and they're regulated under the Department of Commerce, and they're audited, literally audited by the Pentagon, and then they're secured by several contractors. So you have Oracle, you have Microsoft, you have Amazon, and they're publicly traded American corporations, and their executives are Jewish, Christian, atheists, or otherwise. They don't own the internet, man. They just don't. And one more thing, you talked about TikTok. It's owned by the Chinese Communist Party, ByteDance, Chinese Communist Party. And Oracle has been involved with the Chinese Communist Party's ByteDance app. Oracle has a role in data hosting inside the United States for national security. That's a fact. That's not ownership. Larry Ellison does not own that yet. He might not. Let's see if they even do a deal. Okay, so it's America, because I'm an American. I'm the only American in this group, in this stream, and we're asserting our control over the Chinese Communist Party influence. So that's Israel. That's not Israel taking over the United States. That's Larry Ellison, American patriot, helping us. So smart nations. I know you hate this as a Pakistani. We separate correlation from causation. Okay, think about alliance from control, identity from policy. That's the bottom line of what we're doing here. And if the United States, we don't want to lose our sovereignty because a Pakistani like you is insulting an American patriot like Larry Ellison. You've done enough propaganda, man. Let's keep this academic and move on to Mamdani.
All right.
Okay.
Take it away.
2
minutes.
No, I'm responding to that first. I said I was going to respond.
We're never going to get to Mamdani. I got to go in like 5 minutes. So
Yeah. No, we can just end it. We can end it then because I'm going to respond to that because that's just propaganda. So in reality, let's be clear on this because he wanted the extra minute and then he goes, I'm going to go. So I'm not
voting for Mamdani. I'm not voting for Mamdani. I think he's backed by Qatar, the Chinese Communist Party. That's my view.
This guy's like American, German, Jewish, Israeli, Irish, like everything, right? This guy's got multiple personalities, but that's what they have. Now, in terms of sovereignty, it's important that someone.
It's better to be a Pakistani ISI intelligence agent.
Hey, Nima, let's
well, you're not going to be a Mossad agent, so they don't employ you. So let me clear on this.
I'd rather be 5 different things than a Pakistani intelligence agent.
All right, guys, let's keep it.
I'd rather be a Pakistani than be a groomer. So
Pakistani intelligence agent,
Pakistani than a groomer. So let's be clear on this.
Yeah, Pakistani agent who likes Hamas.
Yeah, I'd rather be a Pakistani Asian who doesn't.
I know you would. I know you would. I know you would.
I wouldn't be a groomer. So that, yeah, you're right. So now coming back to the point.
No, I know you'd rather be a Pakistani agent. I know you'd rather be a Pakistani agent.
I know.
That's the most honest thing you've said, bro. That's the most honest thing you've said. That you don't mind that you would rather be a Pakistani agent. I know you would. I know you would.
I know I would. I'm okay with my ethnicity. What are you talking about? You on the hand. You on the other hand pretend you are Irish. Sorry, you're German. You're American. You're Israeli. You're every single nationality, and you run from one country to Iranian as well, and you run from one country to another.
At least I'm not a Pakistani agent. I'm not a Pakistani. I'm not a Pakistani intelligence agent. Pakistani intelligence agent. You're Pakistani grooming gangs in UK, like a little grooming gang. You got your little Pakistani grooming. Look at you. You look like a Pakistani groomer. You look like a Pakistani groomer. You Pakistani groomer. You are Pakistani groomer. Pakistani groomer. Pakistani groomer. You are a Pakistani groomer. You are a Pakistani groomer. I can't wait till India demolishes your little terrorist boyfriend. You're scared of India. You're scared of India. And Tommy Robinson's going to deport you back to Pakistan. Tommy Robinson's going to deport you back to Pakistan. We're going to go back to Pakistan, you little groomer. You look like a groomer. You look like a creepy Pakistani.
Nima is a
I'm just gonna mute. I'm gonna mute
Nima. White into Germany, you dirty piece of shit. How many white girls can groom you, dirty little shit?
Sulaiman, Nima's muted right now, so make the 2-minute point. I'm gonna get Nima, then we're gonna end.
You gotta mute these Jews because they have no control. So my point is this.
Closing statement.
Yeah, my point is this. You have sovereignty. You should have sovereignty no matter what. From Jews, and I don't believe Pakistan should have control over American data centers, should have control over American AI, American intelligence. They believe they should control the United States of America, and they want to make sure that they occupy it. And he said they're American patriots. No, they're not. They're Jewish patriots. Yeah, China shouldn't control TikTok, but also Jews shouldn't. And they always put their people first. This is why we have a problem with them. And this is an example of it. So you saw again this Jew. We had a ceasefire, but as soon as he knew I was going to make my last point, this Jew had to break the ceasefire and speak, because this is what they do. He's a representation of these Jewish. They don't know how to act in an ethical manner. They don't know academia. He had his own entire Israelis. You can look now, he's reading. He's reading because he's getting information from them. Hence why he showed us a little of the room. You cannot trust these people. They're Zionists. They don't believe in honor, integrity, respect, loyalty. This is why this bitch turned on anyone who disagrees with him. This is what these people are. You cannot trust them. And he looks like a cock.
Oh, okay. All right. There's your closing statement. And now, Nima, I'll give you your closing statement. 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think the reason why is he on mute?
Yeah, he is. Can you hear him? You shouldn't be able to.
No. I mean, I was on mute. I think it's fair to say
I muted both of you guys for your closing statements. Yeah.
Okay, I want to say, okay, since you're muted, I want to say you are essentially a Pakistani ISI intelligence agent.
And try to keep it like not personal.
You slandered. Okay, please let me.
Try not.
Come on, bro. You didn't interrupt him. You didn't interrupt him.
All right, go ahead.
Sulaiman, you are a Pakistani intelligence agent. I think maybe I'm wrong. You slandered Larry Ellison. You're jealous of Larry Ellison and what contributions he makes with Oracle, creating over 50,000 jobs for 50,000 Americans, and the contributions he makes with data, defense tech, AI, cybersecurity. You say that the Jews in Israel, I guess, control the data centers, but how about the fact that, yeah, he's Jewish, but what about the fact that he invented that? Like, does that, like, so in your little Pakistani mind, Taliban mind, do you think that he would create that, invent that, and then give away control? I mean, he can go to any country in the world. I'm so thankful an American patriot like Larry Ellison is here in the United States inventing technology to protect us from the Taliban Pakistanis that you are like, and and like your Pakistani grooming gang boyfriends who rape British girls. And you should be ashamed of yourself. And I can't wait till freedom fighter Tommy Robinson is perhaps elected as the leader of the UK and you're deported back to Pakistan. Maybe you can join the Taliban. It was a pleasure. And it was honestly a pleasure for about 3 hours and 50 minutes. Tyson, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming on. All right. Thank you guys both. Thank you everybody for watching. I got them both on mute because if I don't, it's going to turn into another dogfight. I had fun though, guys. This was a good time. You guys are definitely going at it. You guys have a lot of energy. Respect both you guys. Go follow Sulaiman and Nima on all their respected platforms. And I think this has been a pretty good debate. God bless all you guys for watching. And like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.